this dungeon stuff.
If you can see on the screen now, we've got Mr. Chad Supreme pulled up, ready to roll. We're going to make this bad boy at level 3. How do we do that? Got it. All right. Chadwick, are you ready to roll?
Yeah, I'm at the same step.
Cool. So we'll just do it on my screen here, so you can just watch on the stream, and you will make all the decisions.
Perfect.
Cool. So level 3, you for your hit points. Would you like to take the average hit points, or would you like to roll for it? You can either roll a d10, or you can just automatically add 7 hit points.
Yeah, I'll yoink that 7 again.
All right. I definitely
Coward.
I approve of taking the average because it helps. It helps me balance the fights, because if you guys roll for it and you get like 1 extra HP, then it's really hard to throw more difficult monsters at you guys because you don't have any more health than you used to, you know?
Exactly.
Always roll. I always got better than the average.
Well, we can't all be absolute filthy cheaters.
Yeah, he's a rogue.
All right,
I
so
roll on stream.
I'm not a rogue, so no, I'll take that 7.
cool. So you're gonna get 7 extra HP, and you at level 3, a barbarian gets to choose a primal path. This is essentially your subclass that you get to choose now. I guess we're just gonna go with the 2 like player's handbook options, if that's okay with you. If you had a different subclass in mind, then let me know and we can do that.
It's fine. I think like the early stuff for these ones are pretty good anyways, so let's check them out.
Cool. So you can choose the Path of the Berserker, which gives you, let's see.
Oh, this one's good.
So the Path of the Berserker is a path of untrammeled fury, slick with blood. As you enter the Berserker's rage, you thrill in the chaos of battle. So when you choose this path at 3rd level, you can go into a frenzy when you rage. If you do, for the duration of your rage, you can make a single weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns. And when your rage ends, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion. So essentially, during your rage, you can attack an extra time every turn.
Yes.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, as a bonus action.
Yeah, so that's that. And then the Totem Warrior is, I think this is kind of like a protectory tanky type of a deal. So at 3rd level, when you adopt this, you gain the ability to cast Beast Sense, speak with animals, and you get a totem spirit. So you get to choose a like totem animal, and you gain the spirit of that animal. So if you're a bear, you get resistance to all damage while you're raging. An eagle, other creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. Wolves, your friends get advantage on attacks against your enemies. So the wolf kind of like makes you the leader of the pack and empowers your friends. So this is kind of like turns you into like a support tank type of a guy, and the Berserker turns you into just like essentially like a DPS warrior.
But yeah, that we all know the Chad way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to be clear for everyone else who has never met Chad,
right.
That's the path of the Berserker.
So Chad is officially going to be a Berserker gladiator now, which is very cool. All right. So level 3, you can now rage up to 3 times per long rest, which is super hype, and you get that frenzy ability. And then I think you get more of those Berserker traits as you level up. And I don't know if you guys were all here for the like announcements for the stream last night, but if not, we can go over them again. I think I've decided that we have enough of like a story, and I have enough that I want to get done in this campaign that I'm gonna take you guys to level 10. So instead of this being like a level 1 through 5 campaign, it'll be 1 through 10. So you guys will actually get to unlock a little bit more of those cool abilities as we go.
Oh, sick.
Hopefully you guys are cool with that and on board to be a part of this campaign for a little bit longer.
Until I
no.
die, baby.
Anything but this. No. No.
I just can't stand to play D&D anymore.
It's just too fun. I've decided. I'm cutting it out of my life.
All right, so if everyone can see, Chad officially level 3, Path of the Berserker, and 29 HP. Big strong boy. All right.
Chad.
Very nice. Apply changes, and you're good to go, man. Very nice. So, you
I have
guys,
4 HP less than you.
you guys ready to roll? Oh yeah, let's look over everybody's characters, and we'll go through one at a time. So Chad, we checked out. Chad is now a Berserker Barbarian. Very cool. Darrow, what have you done with your level 3? What have you chosen? Let's check it out. You want to give us the rundown on what you're up to now?
Okay, so I didn't roll because I'm a coward as well.
I like it.
I already had like low HP. I just feel like if I roll, I'm gonna get this shit into the stick. I've almost died 3 times already. Like I just need health.
You got to be careful, yeah.
I took the College of Lore, which is my subclass,
Very cool.
and it gives me lots of proficiencies in my skills. So I can now intimidate and persuade and deceive pretty well.
So that kind of makes you the master of everything, right? Like you're the guy that knows like the history of the world and like you know everything about everything.
Yeah, I kind of have like bonuses to everything that don't have to do with actually fighting.
That's cool.
I try to stick with with the character itself. So I try to make him as close to a jerk face con man as possible.
Sure.
It also gives me levels. Well, we don't have to talk about that right now. But I get cutting words, which allows me to basically distract an enemy right as they make an attack roll and make their rolls a little lower. So that should help in combat a bit.
Right. Cool. So that essentially is like negative inspiration, right? Like instead of the inspiration you give to your allies, like you can like say some mean stuff to an enemy and it like subtracts the inspiration from their roll, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. I like that. College of Lore is really interesting, man. I think it's really cool for like a role-playing character. Like you can, like you said, it's really good for the out of combat stuff. So I'll be sure to make a lot of that possible for you, so you can really showcase the abilities there.
And for the spells I took, because I got my level 2 spells,
yes.
I decided to swap out one of my level 1 spells, which was the guy I can summon to make him do stupid stuff like we did on the boat.
Right.
I got rid of that.
Okay.
And I and I added 2 level 2 spells this time. So I grabbed Enhance Ability, which kind of just is a general buff. I can pick different aspects like Constitution or damage or like movement speed, I believe, too, as well.
Sure.
And Suggestion, which is basically like I can just tell someone to do something, but as long as it doesn't obviously put them in harm, they can pretty much do whatever I want them to. So I think that'll be pretty
So it's like
fun to use in combat.
Kind of a minor charm type of a spell.
Exactly. It can't be used on someone who can't be charmed, but
Sure.
you know.
But if it
should be
works,
fun.
they kind of get a little hint and they might try to do whatever you ask them.
Exactly. So I'm going to make it hard for you, especially in combat.
Cool. I
You're going to
like
have to
it.
decide.
That's awesome. All right, Goldu, what have you done? It looks like you're a thief now.
Yeah, dude.
I like it. Goldu
Can still better.
out for that money.
Always.
So what did you get from your subclass? What does being a thief add to your skill set?
I can climb without needing extra movement cost.
Okay. Second story work.
I
it
can
looks like,
faster than normal too. Yeah. And in addition, if I make a running jump, I can increase the distance.
Oh wow. Okay.
With my dexterity modifier.
So that seems like that ability is supposed to be like if you're like stealing and you have to like run through the city to escape.
Parkour, baby.
Yeah, parkour
Hell
style.
yeah.
That's cool.
I also get fast end, and that let me use my cunning action to make a dexterity check. Like, can use my thief tool to disarm, open a lock. You can steal someone from his pocket, but sleight of hand,
Cool.
or I can use an object, like use an object action.
Wow. All right. That's interesting. So maybe we'll have to figure out a way to work that into the combat and stuff so you can try to.
Yeah, I think I can do like
Try to
when
eat-
my attack, bonus attack, and then cunning, and then use an object, like throw something, like my flask.
Interesting. I like that, man. Cool. And then it also you get an additional D6 of sneak attack damage now, correct?
Yep.
Cool. Think that about
I
covers
also roll my life because I'm not a coward.
it. I like it. I'm happy that you actually got lucky because now you have a decent amount of HP to play with, so we're not in danger of killing all of you guys, hopefully. All right, back to the map on the screen here, and we're going to get started. I hope you guys are ready to go. Super excited for the level 3. Thank you guys for doing that. All right, everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of the Elder Council campaign. When we last left off, you guys had your first brutal day fighting through the pit. You finished 2 fights, I believe, and you had just barely finished off the very strange set of like clone triplet woodsmen and their giant dogs, and barely made it out alive. Darrow was hurting pretty badly. Jinx took an arrow or an axe in the back and is currently being carted out to the nurse's station on a stretcher. You guys are in the preparation room. You just left the arena, and Cracklash is leading you up behind the crew that's stretching Jinx out taking Jinx out on the stretcher, and you're following Cracklash up the stairs back into the neighborhood of the slums, and he's kind of rushing you along, and you're running behind the stretcher, and you head over to the nurse's station, which is those 3 taller white tents directly behind the pit that you can see on the map there. And you get over there, and they quickly rush Jinx inside into the nurse's station, and Cracklash is kind of under his breath saying like, this doesn't look good, guys. He's looking pretty rough. And the nurse, you can hear her screaming already, like saying like she's already too booked up, there's too much going on, like she can't help anyone else, and they don't have the supplies. And she's just freaking out, and Cracklash just like kind of motions you guys away from the door, and he says, just take off for now. You guys obviously need to go get some rest. It's been a long day, and it's probably like late afternoon from that first day that you started in the pit, and you haven't had any rest all day. You barely got a break in between your first fight and your second fight, and you just were thrust into it all day because the golden clad leader of the nobles wanted to see you guys fight again because he was a little bit intrigued with your first performance and immediately called for you to go back in. So you step away from the nurse's station, just wondering what's going on and not having much hope for Jinx's safety and health after that really horrible wound. And Cracklash just tells you to head back to your tent and just get some rest, and he'll see you when he sees you. He's got too much going on. He's going to go in there and try to help them out as best as he can. Yeah, it's mid-afternoon, and you guys are kind of set free to go and get some rest if you want to go and take a long rest. You guys have definitely earned it. And you're officially done with the pit for this day, and Cracklash sets you loose.
Bye, Cracklash.
Hey, what about the reward for the winning?
He says your reward is your life, and he hands you a little bit of a bag of gold, and he says this is the gold that was picked up from around the arena that you guys didn't scrounge up off of the ground. If you remember, I think, what did I give you, 20 gold apiece last time?
Yeah.
So he hands you a little bag to split among yourself, and there's another 50 in there, and that's just like essentially the prize pool that they hand out, like all of the citizens of this town and everyone are betting on all of these fights, but if anyone else, like, people can put money into the prize pool to give to the victors, or they can just like toss the coins overboard, and if they just land in the water or like on the ground and you guys don't pick them up, they just get pooled up and either put back into the prize pool, or they can give them to like the leader of the team to divvy out among you guys. So you just have like another 50 gold in your group inventory, and you can split it however you want. But he's like, your reward is essentially that you aren't dead, and you should feel lucky about that. Go get some rest. And he turns and runs back inside the nurse's tent.
I take the bag and I give my friend 5 pieces of gold each.
All right.
And I cock back my fist to punch Goldu in the mouth.
You guys.
I want a roll to dodge.
All right. I will. I'll assume that Cracklash handed you the bag because you were the one that spoke up about where's our reward. So I'll allow you to do a sleight of hand to make it seem like there was only 15 gold in there and like you were splitting it evenly. So roll
Wasn't there 15? You say it was 15, right?
50.
Oh, 50. Yeah, I can try to sleight of hand.
All right. So you roll sleight of hand, and Darrow, you roll a perception check, please.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so Darrow, you
Ow,
are
dude.
Goldu flips 5 coins your way and flips 5 coins Chad way, and it seems like he puts 5 coins in his pocket.
Trash. Chad, hit him, Chad. Hit him.
No,
There's no way he gave us 5 coins.
you don't know. You don't know.
As far as your
Look how big the
character,
bag is.
as
There's no way.
Hey, have you ever seen a bag of chips? It seems like there's a lot, but there's not a lot inside.
it's just mostly air.
Yeah, dude, and moisture.
Oh, do you mind shaking that bag around a little bit? I just want to hear it.
It's dirt inside.
All right, so you guys can continue to fight about gold if you would like. I'll just let you play it out however you want to.
No, you
finish
failed
this.
this stealth check. I win.
All right. So
Yes.
as far as you know, Darrow, your character assumes that the gold was split evenly and all is right in the world because Goldu's a very trustworthy young man.
I trust him with my life. I'll trust him with my gold.
I saved your life. Don't forget.
Actually, I don't trust him with my life. He had most of the fight. Actually, he saved me. I'll give you that gold, though. You saved me.
You guys all did a pretty good job. Pulled all your weight. All right. So
Mostly.
just a little meta thing. We finished at a weird place last time. So essentially, you're at the end of the day. I would suggest going and getting a long rest. There will be more official like things to do tomorrow. You're more than welcome to wander around the slums and explore and talk to people if you'd like. But
Just to be clear, everything resets, right? Like our HP and everything.
yeah, a long rest is like essentially you start fresh and everything's good to go.
Oh, I have a question.
Gotcha.
Thank you for the host.
When
Kay.
we level up, we get healed completely?
I don't know if like we'll just say that you leveled up during the long rest, so yes, but I'll have to do some research. I don't know if like if you level up in the middle of combat, like if it just heals you, but essentially we're always just gonna level up like in between sessions, so
Okay.
you should never have
Because
to worry
when
about
I
it.
leveled up, like, my hit point got back to maximum, and I forgot what I had.
Oh, right, yeah. So we'll from now on we'll only level up during like a long rest, so you don't have to worry about it.
Straight.
But yeah, I
We
would
go back to his tent.
cool. And yeah, Goldie, you have your little camel skin tent set up inside of the bigger like community tent that you guys were given by Cracklash.
And I wanna eat one of my ration.
Okay, are Chad and Darrow, are you guys heading back to the tent as well.
How dark is it? Like, is it
It's like
still
late
sign of
afternoon.
life?
Like it's probably like maybe 4 or 5 o'clock at night, like whatever that means their time. Like sun is starting to go down. People are kind of like just chilling. Most people you can see are just like sitting on a chair outside their tent and like maybe chewing on whatever like garbage food they have and just like hanging out, you know? Like they've probably been working all day or doing some type of slave labor all day and now they're like finally done and they're just like kicking back. Not much excitement going on. All the merchants have probably like packed up by now. I'm sure they mostly stay open like during the fights and stuff while people are kind of out and about, and everyone's packed up and is just like heading back to their tents to rest for the evening.
Right. I guess in that case, I'll just head back to the tent as well.
Okay. Chad, what are you thinking?
Man, they don't make those dog necks like they used to.
Jesus.
Chad could use a breather.
You did decapitate quite a few people in that last fight. You probably
chop, 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 and
your arms are probably pretty tired. That was quite the battle.
Two in one swing at one
yeah,
point.
that was impressive. All right, so you guys all head back over to your tent. Your tent, you can see on the side there, you got your little fire pit outside. You kind of fixed it up quite a bit. It's like the nicest tent in your slave block by far, which is not saying much. But you get back over to your tent. Goldie like crawls inside his little camel skin tent and he's just sitting there eating on one of his rations that he's got out of his bag, and you guys are just chilling. How are you feeling about your post fight thoughts of how things are going?
Meta real fast.
Sure.
This is about Jinx.
Okay.
Is he dead, or
So
I think I might have missed you said something about.
So as far as your characters know right now, he's like essentially like what you could infer from what the nurse was saying and what Cracklash was saying. He's mortally wounded and is probably not going to make it. And as far as the stream goes, I have more or less kind of went over this, I think, but like we did lose a player from the campaign, unfortunately, but we're just the three of us, or the three of you guys, Chad, Goldu, and Darrow will be the full party moving forward. So bear with us if balance gets a little bit thrown off, but I think I've done a good job of adjusting the future fights, so we should be okay. But yeah, Jinx, essentially, the character is no longer with you. You're not gonna see him again, essentially. But if he does survive, he was like wounded so badly that he's not gonna be in like adventuring shape.
Can we take his stuff?
Somehow when that axe hit him in the back, all of his belongings disintegrated.
Jesus.
I want
It hit him
I want
really
to
hard.
cut his tail.
Got tail snapped by an axe.
His tail
Oh.
actually it disappeared as well.
Damn it! Can I take his horn?
He doesn't have horns.
He does.
Nah, prove it.
The picture it shows his horn.
he died and disappeared. He's gone forever.
they ate him because the lone supply.
He got snapped from our memories.
Yeah.
Oh
Essentially,
shit, dude.
the
We are on
Thanos
the same universe of Avenger.
the Thanos snap cut into the world of Onhef and only deleted one person, and it was Jinx.
Also,
Sad
how
dude.
about does him disappearing have any story implications? Because
So the story, like essentially the lore of what's going on right now is like he actually did get like mortally wounded in that arena battle, and like as far as your characters are concerned, like you lost a party member to like a war wound, like if you had an actual adventuring party and one of your friends got wounded so badly that they couldn't work anymore, right? Like this person is either dead or retired from doing anything physically demanding in the future, so he's essentially like not a part of the adventure anymore, and your characters are like, having to move on without him. Whether or not this affects like the reason you guys were all brought here, or if it's going to have negative consequences on you, you don't know.
Gotcha.
He was a demon anyways. Couldn't trust.
But yeah, you guys are just chilling in the tent, probably like
wanna try-
remorseful and talking about like, oh my god, one of our friends just died. So
I want to try to whistle the whistle for bird I found on the dude.
the whistle that you found on the
Ranger.
guy. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
go for it. You
What do I do?
you don't have to roll anything. You just blow this whistle, and it makes a really like shrill sound, like almost like a dog whistle. Like it's almost inaudible, but you guys can all hear it, and it's like really piercingly loud. And you hear from like the tent next to you guys. Someone just yells like, "What the hell is that?" But you whistle it, and you like pop your head out of the tent and look around, and nothing seems to happen currently.
Now, what if a
Alright.
bird had came and attacked us, Golden?
Wait,
Just think about that.
there's a whole camp of slave.
Fair point. I'll give you that one.
At least I know it's annoying.
that is true. You could probably use it for that purpose at some point. It is it seems to have some sort of magical effect. Like you can tell from just the way that it feels when you use it, like something is happening, but maybe you're just not in the right place for it right now.
Maybe it
Yeah.
works on Dragonkin. Blow it in Chad's ear.
He wasn't. He heard it.
As soon as you say that, Chad is like, "Blow what in my ear?" Like he just didn't even hear it.
He has a thick skull. You have to get closer.
No, I don't want to butcher the dragon.
Don't tell me the
Uh,
mighty Goldu's afraid of a
By
dragon.
the way, where is the well in the camp? I need water.
The well,
Yeah.
probably over in like Trader's Row, like over by the stalls and
So
trader
far away.
huts and stuff.
Damn it. Then I drink my last water skin.
All right. All right, you're good. I'll assume like whenever you guys had your last long rest, you like refilled all your supplies and stuff, so
Oh.
you can consider your canteens full or whatever, all your canteens.
Even the ration?
No.
Yeah.
There is
Well,
not any
I
rations
can
that you
tell the
can
water skin, by the
go
way.
buy in this area. What was that?
3 stack of water skin?
Just I'm gonna say like assume that you have enough water to survive at all times unless I specify otherwise. Like if we go back to the
That-
desert, then I'll say like you actually have to watch your water rations.
Okay.
But until then, like if you're in a civilized place, you can assume like they have water or this town would not exist.
Yep. I got it.
Cool.
Then we'll do sleep.
All right. So let's say that you guys sat around and kind of talked about like all the crazy stuff that went down. Chad kind of reminisced about his gladiatorial days and cleaving off 2 heads at once, and you guys kind of mourned over the loss of your adventuring friend, and and a couple hours pass and night falls, and Goldu kind of chilling there and drifts off to sleep. Darrow, Chad, what are you guys feeling?
Or briefly thinking about trying to find my love, but then I remember what happened last time, and I lay down to go to sleep.
All right.
Oh boy, I can't wait till tomorrow. Chad shoves his sword into the ground, the Chadwick, and he goes down
All right.
and takes a rest.
I like it. All right. So you guys all fall asleep, and you are like, while you were all talking and like hanging out in the tent, just like chatting with each other, you kind of, you've been a party for a while now, and like going through these battles and stuff is sort of like, even if you guys aren't like super friendly yet, you are like undoubtedly have a connection now. Like you have saved each other. You've had each other's backs a few times now, and like after this long, grueling day of battle, you're like worn out. You're having this like slightly friendly, slightly sad conversation, and you're all nodding off as it happens, and you all just like pass out like the end of like the hardest day you've had in your life. You're exhausted, and you're all like out cold. So a couple hours pass. You're all sleeping pretty damn well. Nothing eventful. Darrow, make a perception check, please.
Why me? So what I rolled last time. Pretty good.
All right, you rolled a 15, so everybody, in the middle of the night, everyone's all fast asleep, and Darrow, you feel like a cold breeze kind of come over you and kind of open one eye as you're still like super tired and you feel heavy and your eyelids are heavy and you just like you feel something kind of bother you and wake you up, but you're like you don't want to wake up at all, so you just like open one eyelid and you're like, what the hell, why is it cold in here?
The hell is
And
that?
you open one eye, and at the opening of your tent you see this black cloaked figure, and you can't make it out at all, and it's got this just like black like essentially like a cape with a hood on it, and it covers the entire body, and there's this gold insignia right on the chest, and you can't really make out what it is. You can just see a little bit of the gold shimmering in like whatever bit of clouded moonlight there is, and just the black hooded figure in the darkness, and it peeks its head through the tent as you open your eyelid, and it motions like a silent finger to you and then tells you to come to it.
I'm going past, Chief.
As- all right, as soon as you like you wake up and you see this like imposing shadowy figure, you cannot like at all make out any sort of features at all. It's just like a essentially like what looks like a floating black cloak with this gold insignia on it. And as soon as you wake up and see it, and you look like you're pretty startled, like if you woke up in the middle of the night and there was this like scary figure in your doorway, you probably wouldn't get up to it, but it kind of floats.
Beckons me.
It floats towards you while it's holding out like these like black gloved hands, and it's like holding its hands forward like in a peace motion. It's showing you that it's unarmed, and it's floating towards you, and it does the silence motion again, and it's coming closer to you and floats and like kind of sits itself down on your bedroll.
Hello?
And it motions again to stay quiet, and it like makes it some like heavy aura surrounds you and lowers like the volume in the area, and you are whispering with this being, and it says in this very creepy like whispered tone that almost just like enters your mind, and it says, Darrow, seek Zeril and tell her of Rabble and of Vex and of your homeworld. She can guide you. And then the like foggy, clouded like feeling that was surrounding you like absorbs into this clouded figure, and it disappears. And I'll type in the chat the name that he said, just so everyone knows, in case it was hard to understand. The name was Zeril, Zaral. He said, seek Zeril and tell her of Rabble and of Vex and your homeworld. She can guide you.
Zeril.
And then as soon as he disappeared, your eye falls back, it's heavy, and you fall back asleep for the rest of the evening. And you guys wake up in the morning, pretty early in the morning. You fell asleep at like probably no later than like 8 o'clock at night. You just passed out, super exhausted, and you wake up and you kind of feel like it you had this weird dream, and just that name is like kind of burned into your head. But you all wake up.
Everyone?
Ugh, the hell was that? Did anyone else see the boogeyman? I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. The boogeyman? Anyone know Zero? Someone named
Outside the
Zero.
game, does everyone had the feeling or not?
You guys were like sound asleep, and nobody saw this guy except for Darrow.
Golder, do you know anyone named Zero?
Maybe.
You do not.
He doesn't know that I don't know.
That's true. You can tell him that. Sure.
Were you looking for that? Trying
Huh?
to sneak some, smuggle some drugs?
No, dude. It was a question, man. I don't know. It was something.
Yeah.
Maybe Chad knows. Chad, do you know anyone named Zero?
Dude,
Never mind.
I know what this is. This is just some post-match jitters. Don't worry about it, Mohawk Chad. Everything's cool. We're winners, okay?
I can't stand you sometimes. I'm not doing that.
I want to high-five the Dragonborn.
Goldie reaches out for a high five with Chad.
I have to
Ugh.
jump.
Assholes.
Hell yeah, baby.
Anyway, I had a weird dream last night. Something, guy, woman, possibly a woman, came to me in the middle of the night and
Lucky.
said, "Not in that way, Goldu. I mean, I'm pretty handsome, but not in that way. I mean, anywho, it said seek Zero and tell her about Rabble and our homeworld." I think I was half asleep and afraid.
Mm.
I almost peed myself, honestly, but I'm not sure if it really happened or not. But I think we should probably go look for the Zero
We
person.
do had a similar experience in the past.
You've
but
had
it
that
was-
experience?
Yeah, but it was what mushroom.
I wasn't. We were fighting. I clearly wasn't high, dude. Like I didn't. You saw me go to sleep.
No.
Goldie did fall asleep first.
This is true. Chad, you saw me go to sleep, right?
Who is Marble?
No, I left the tent and then I came back and you were asleep.
Dude, are you smoking
Swear
what
to
I'm
God.
doing?
So these guys kind of just like brush you off, and they're like, "Okay, Darrow had a weird dream. Big deal." And they're like,
Yeah.
"You're all like up and about for the day now. It's like 7:30 in the
If you
morning."
don't wanna end up like the red demon, better stop smoking that shit.
I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna. Daryl walks out. Daryl's sick of this shit. He walks out.
So you guys are out and about, and it's early morning. You can see people starting to rise from their tents. The vendors are pulling their carts over to Trader's Row. People are starting to wake up, and there's some like early morning fires getting lit, and people are cooking some like maybe some like soup and maybe beans, like
Ooh.
early stuff, and people are waking up.
Free food?
Goldo, maybe you should check on your dagger and see if that's done. I mean, he
Hey,
might have
one-
put some pep in the step after that win. Who knows?
He say 1 week. Maybe I go see. And we'll go do work toward Snacksmith.
Okay, so are you guys all going together?
I want to go see. I can go Goldo.
You guys, I'll tell you meta right now. Like, you essentially like go and talk to Cracklash every day, and he'll tell you like when your fights are going to be and that kind of stuff. But other than that, you can like wander around, and I will make sure that there's enough time that you guys can all stay together, but everyone can go and do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean?
Straight.
So,
Okay, right. I was just gonna go see Crackfish anyway, so that's why I decided just to go.
Cool. Well, you guys start walking towards the blacksmith, which on the map is like up in Trader's Row. So you guys are like directly across from Cracklash's tent. If you can see where your tent and the fire is at, and Cracklash is like right across the little road there on the side of the pit. So you come out straight out the door of your tent, and he's emerging from his as well. Like he just woke up too. It's like pretty early, and you guys woke up early because you pretty much got like a full 12-hour night's sleep, and he probably was up all night like helping deal with the slums throughout the night, but he just naturally gets up early anyways. He's just like that kind of a go-getter type of a guy. He probably doesn't sleep very well, and he kind of like rolls out of his tent and cracks his back and looks over, and he's like, "Oh, hey, morning, lads," and kind of stumbles over to you and offers a hand to shake to all three of you.
I shake its hand.
All right. He
Hey, what up, buddy?
he shakes your hands, and he reaches down to shake Goldie's hand and gives you a wink.
I shake.
All right. So he's like happy to see you all, and he's like, that was a rough one yesterday, you guys. I'm sorry to say that it's back at it today. Luckily, we've finagled it so you don't have to go back until this afternoon. So enjoy your morning and rest up as much as you can.
What happened to Jinx?
He just goes silent, and he just shakes his head, and
Tell us.
he gets quiet. He shakes his head at you like he didn't make it.
Oh
Where's
well.
Scrumpox in the chat says, "See if they have a Waffle House."
Cracklash, do you make waffles by chance? I mean, we pretty much set it on fire yesterday. I think we deserve a better reward than 5 gold coins, right?
He says, 5 gold coins. What do you mean? And what is this?
Goldu,
Waffle.
go away to the blacksmith.
He Cracklash says, "I don't know either of the things you're talking about. I've never heard of this waffle. I'm sure if you want some breakfast over in Trader's Row, you can find something. I've got to attend to my duties, but David at the blacksmith shop, he did say that he was wanting to talk to you guys. He said he had something for you. So yeah, I'd go to Trader's Row. You can get some breakfast and go meet up with David at the shop. So I'll catch up with you guys later. Be back here by afternoon when your fight starts." And he kind of gallops away and gets to work.
Yeah,
I wonder
let's
if we
go
can,
see Sweaty Chad.
So Goldie, as soon as you brought up the coins, Goldie was already kind of like sneaking away towards Trader's Row, and you guys turn and quickly catch up to him and head over there. So you're walking down the row of tents. You pass the nurse's station, which you can see is just like even more blood-soaked and ragged than usual. There's a couple of like sheets that look like there's some things underneath them just stacked up outside the tent, and it's quiet in that area. And you walk by and you get to Trader's Row, and you can see the vendors have all set up. The carts are there. People are starting to kind of like put things out onto their shelves, what little market they have set up there. There's like a couple stalls with like minimal things, some really like bad food that may be even like spoiled. This is just what everyone could scrounge up, and they probably don't even sell it. This is just like, this is all we have. We split it between the community here. And you can see David's blacksmith shop, and the tent flap to his little area is open, and he's already in there working. And you're about 20 feet away walking towards him.
Suicide.
Hey, David.
So
Yeah.
he's swinging a hammer and smacking down on this little piece of metal on his anvil, and he hears you call out to him, and he kind of like was in the zone and looks around, and he spots you guys walking towards him, and he just waves the hammer at you like, come on in, and he just keeps banging at it for a couple of seconds while you're taking the journey over to him, and looks at you, and he's good job yesterday, guys. I'm glad to see you made it out. I'm really sorry about your friend, but that's the pit. And he just has like a straight look on his face, like that's just life around this place. You know, if he got overly attached to the new fighters, he'd be like destroyed all the time. So he just doesn't let that get to him. And he's like, this is just life here. People die. And he's like, glad to see that you made it out, but not surprised with what happened. And he just is working away, and he says, Goldie, did you get that dagger that Zeril picked up for you? She came by and grabbed it and said that she was picking it up to give to you.
Zeril! Point at him.
I assumed that you asked her to pick it up for you. How do you like it now that it's been upgraded?
Why you give my stuff to other people?
He says, well, Zeril came and knew exactly what was going on. I assumed that you asked her to come and pick it up, so I gave it to her, yeah.
Zeril!
She probably still has it and just hasn't given it to you yet. You can go and see if she has it if you want. She's probably in her hut.
She
Zeril!
stole from me, we die.
He can see that you guys are like visibly confused about what's going on here, and he looks at you, Darrow, and he's like,
Zeril.
Do you not know Zeril yet? I apologize. Have you not been introduced?
The man in black knows Zeril.
He's like, what are you talking about?
The man in black. No one saw this man?
He's like, the man in black? What? There's
Well,
probably a
one.
lot of guys
Sure.
that wear black around here. What do you mean?
It was a man in black, dude. And he told me to go find Zeril. Ooh, it's Zeril.
He's like, well, you don't have to go find her. Like, she lives here in the slums. I'll take you to her
Where?
house. She lives over.
Now?
Take us to the thief house.
He said, calm down. She's no thief. I'm sure she just wanted to deliver the dagger to you. I assumed that you guys were already acquainted. Maybe she wanted to bring it as a token of friendship. She lives over by the graves in the shaman's quarter. She's the head shaman of the slums. She's kind of like the religious leader for our people here. She sees over the burial process. She'll probably be performing the ceremonies for Jinx's burial. She's kind of just like the leader of the people here. While Cracklash takes care of the day-to-day duties and helping the people, Zeril is like our real spiritual leader. And he like essentially gives you guys the directions to get to her house. If you can see on the map, the very bottom right corner that says the graves, that big circular like hut thing is where Zeril lives.
All right, baby. Let's go. Let's cut that thief.
All right, you guys head over there. You go the long way around the Trader's Row. You just kind of wandering around through there, checking stuff out as you walk.
Is there alcohol on the stand?
You go up to the first like little market stand that you see, and you just see like this little dwarven man who's kind of stocking the shelves with like all of this stuff, and he's pulling it out of his own like personal bag. Like every night, this stall, he puts everything back in the bag and like keeps safe, close watch over it, because this is all that this guy has, and it's his whole like livelihood, you know. And he's stocking the shelf. He puts up like a little like bag of like beans on the shelf, some like mixed like vegetables that somebody probably found like on the ground somewhere. And he turns and sees you walking up to his cart, and he looks a little guarded, and he waves at you and says, morning, sir, what can I get you?
No, I don't want
Cabbages.
to talk to him.
You don't want to talk to him?
I wanted to see if there was a bottle of alcohol on the stand.
You can't see if
next
there
to
is
us.
one, but I'm out of game.
Oh,
You
shame.
could definitely ask if he has one.
What up, fellow small men?
he
Well,
he he laughs about it and he admires your beard and he strokes his own. He's got a very long and gray dwarven beard and he kind of pulls on his and he says, what can I do for you, my fine sir?"
do you have any strong beverage?
He like rears back and he says, "Ah, I know what you mean." And he says, that's illegal here." And he gives you a wink and he kind of pulls back one of the sliding doors to the little market stall underneath, and there's a small brown bottle, and he says, "I found this underneath the guard's tower the other day, and I was saving it for a fine occasion myself, like the next time I get gravely wounded, but it's for sale for the right price."
How many, baby?
He says, "What do you got?"
2 gold.
He like immediately starts to close the cabinet door when you say that.
3 gold.
He's just closes it and he just like stands there like, "Give me a real offer, bud."
Dude. 5 gold.
You're like offending this guy at this point. He's like, "Are you kidding me?" You can try to make a like persuasion check and like offer this guy like a trade of some sort. Like you can offer some gold or items or like throw a little persuasion on there with your offer of gold.
I turn to Darrow and I poke his shirt and I say, "Hey, Darrow,
How did I know you were gonna do that?
you good talker. Tell the sense to him. We need that bottle."
Why would I do that? None of you believe me about Zero. You told me I was crazy.
I found Zero
Smoking
for
weed
you.
and eating mushrooms and stuff like that. Why would I even?
I found
So
Zero
you
for
can say
you.
I get drunk all the time because I swindled some bottles?
It's not for you.
You are more than welcome to try to make this persuasion check yourself.
Yeah, I do it.
All right, roll persuasion.
2.
All right, so what are you offering with this persuasion check? Like, how's this going down? You're trying to talk this guy into selling you this thing. Like, you offered him 5 gold, and he just like essentially just like stared in your face, like he's offended at that. So
I'm just a poor slave. I just come here with my friend and we got thrown in the pit. My friend got raped last night. He can't get over it. He have nightmare. Our dragon friend is sad. He's too far away from the north. We need that drink. Our friend died too. I forgot. But our friend died. Please. We need that drink.
he listens to your plea, and then after you get done with all that, he's like nodding along the whole time, and then after you're done, he goes, "Boo-hoo, we're all poor here. Are you kidding me? Like, cry me a river, kid." And then he takes out the bottle and he takes a swig of it, and he's like, he downs like about, it's maybe like a pint bottle, like a good, like, I don't know, like a fist-sized bottle, like a brown bottle. And he downs about half of it immediately. And he's like, "Oh my god, it's one of these days already." And he puts the cork on it. And there's about half a bottle left. And he's like, "I'll give you this for 5 gold."
4 gold.
He says 5, or I'll chug the rest right now.
If you chug 20 against the half, can we get 3 gold?
He says, "All right, that sounds fair," and he drinks another like 25% of it. So there's about a quarter of a bottle left, and
I give him 3 gold then.
he grabs the gold, puts it in his little satchel, and he tosses the bottle your way.
Nice.
And now he's like sitting there, and he's just like spinning in circles, just like hammered. And he goes, don't drink more than about a shot of that in one place. And then he just like falls over on his back, and he's just like staring at the sky, and he's just laughing and giggling, and he's like, "Enjoy yourself, bud."
Guy's gonna get robbed.
Good business. I keep on going to the graveyard.
All right, you guys continue on your
Can
way.
we go to the nurse? Actually, the doctor. She's near here, right?
You could essentially go through that little tent yard and go there on your way. Sure.
I kind of direct us towards the nurse.
Sure. You like cut through this little tent city here, and these like rounded like teepee style tents behind the nurses station you can see are like, this is essentially like the infirmary ward of the slums. This is where all the people who are in recovery are staying, like wounded people or people who are permanently injured, or maybe even like some of these tents have like the recently deceased in them, and you are weaving through these tents and you get to the nurses station, and you see that the door is open. Like the flap of the tent is propped open already for the day, and she's kind of setting up her things and maybe even like treating to a patient who's not like mortally wounded. Like there's just a guy sitting in the chair in there who's just like got like a broken arm or something, and she's just talking to him like she just patched him up and she's just getting set up for the day.
Good morning, ma'am.
Meeting.
She turns her head and she says, "Oh, great! The Chaos Brigade arrives. What can I do for you today? I'm really sorry about yesterday. I did all I could."
Sure, whatever.
She says, "Okay, whatever," and turns her head
Where
back.
is he? Where is he?
She says, "He's out back. He didn't make it."
Or can we see the body?
Took him out back and shot him. It was just his leg.
It was his back with like a battle axe.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You can go see his body if you want, you weirdos. She says.
Yeah, I want to see.
She takes you out back and lifts up a sheet, and there's a dead tiefling with.
He definitely has horns.
He does have
Yeah.
horns, yeah.
I thought you said we weren't gonna come back here.
You guys made the decision to do this. I definitely am not
I wanted to ask
interested in
you,
this.
speaking to the nurse.
She's like, yeah, and she like drops the sheet. She's like, "What the hell?"
I just came to actually ask you, do you have maybe some off-the-shelf healing supplies that you might loan us, sort of?
She like laughs in your face and says, "Are you kidding me? No, I don't have enough to treat one more patient, let alone lend you any." And she like almost like turns on her heel and like starts heading towards back into the tent.
Well, I neglected to tell you, I do have healing magic, and I could exchange for some easy-to-use supplies.
She turns around again and she says, "I appreciate the offer, and I believe me, I could use the help. I don't have anything to give you. All I can give you is like the recipe to make more of those bandages. That's all I have."
Sure, I guess.
And she brings you all inside, and she like scrawls on this little piece of parchment how to make those like combat bandages that I gave you guys. Do you still have those?
Dope. Yes.
3 each.
Yeah.
I think.
So she writes
Yeah.
down on this little piece of paper like the recipe for the supplies that you need to make one of those, and you know that it's like one piece of like linen cloth or whatever you can find, linen or canvas cloth, and then one other like herbal ingredient that she writes down that's just the name of like a common growing like weed or herb that grows in the area, and she writes it on a little note and hands it to you guys. And then she says, "I have one thing," and she like hands you this roll of linen. So it's essentially like 4 linen squares. Excuse me. So she says, "I haven't been able to go and pick any of this herb." One second, guys. Excuse me. She says, "I haven't been able to go and pick any of this herb lately, but here's some linen. If you go and procure the other ingredients yourself, I guess you could make some more of the bandages. But if you do, please gather some and bring it back here so I have more supplies. It would really help me out a lot."
No problem, of course. Do you have any idea where we can grab some?
And she says, "Usually I get it from the fence line. If you're lucky, some will be growing from the other side of the fence near the graveyard."
Gotcha.
And she said she kind of scribbles on the note, like on the recipe, she draws like a quick little like nature sketch of what the plant looks like, and it's like a little gray stalk dandelion looking thing, but the flowers are just like gray instead of yellow. And she just hands it back to you, and she's like, "Here's your recipe and what the herb looks like. Please just bring me a handful if you can."
No problem, darling.
And she
We'll
says,
be on our way now.
How about that healing
No.
magic?"
Uh,
She laughs and she's like, "Just come back when you can, please." And she turns back to the guy she was working on.
We'll
Listen,
never
just-
talking.
if there's anything major, I'll definitely be at your assistance. But my magic is kind of expensive to use if you think about it. So for a simple broken arm, it's not really worth it.
She
What
goes,
if someone's mortally wounded again?
Oh, it's expensive. I understand. I get it. I get it. It's really hard for you to help out around here. I understand. Thank you so much for your help.
That's not it. If I
and-
die in the
She's
battle,
like,
it's
oh
pointless
yeah,
anyway.
oh yeah, of course, sure.
You know
yeah.
what? You're a jerk, lady. You know what? And I like that though. I like that spunk. That's what we need around here. Keep it up.
Wait, while all of this was happening, Goldu took a small chair to get on the level of the table,
Sure.
and I put my hand on the face of Jinx, and I say, "Goodbye, demon. It was nice to meet you."
Fuck, God damn it.
All right.
Then I drink half the bottle, and I pour half the other on his face.
Let's go, Goldu. Let's go.
Pour one out for your homies. All right. You
Chad's crying.
you feel some sort of spirit like swell up inside of you, and then you realize it was the booze, and you feel a little bit drunk, and you head out.
I can't delete it from my inventory. No. Oh yeah, I can.
He was so
Amen.
young.
I
Oh!
know, Chad.
I tried
know.
to pull his on before I leave.
It doesn't come off.
Shame.
It's attached, Goldu.
Can we
Stop
keep his
faking.
head? I tell the lady. Can we keep his head as a souvenir?
She says, "Absolutely not."
Why? He's not yours?
She says, "You can ask Zeril about that. She's in charge
Oh
of
yeah.
the bodies
The
around
thief.
here.
You need to go
Um,
see Zero now.
She'll be doing
Yeah,
the
go onward.
the burial ceremony, and you can definitely ask her if you can
I
keep
don't
his
care.
head."
I don't care.
All
I
right,
jump
she
on dragon bone back. I say
she.
onward, fidel dragon.
All right, you guys leave.
I
and-
run straight through the tent in the forwards direction.
Jesus Christ.
All right, you run through the canvas wall, and it like rips in the shape of a Chad, and the lady, you can just hear her like cursing you as you're all running down the street out of earshot.
Sorry, they're idiots.
she's like she's not even listening. She's just like yelling angrily at the sky. She's like, "Curse
Me and
you!"
Goldie, like, I giggle like kids.
What do we call ourselves? What is our name? That's a group, guys. It's been days, weeks. We need a group name.
We are the Goldu team.
No.
No, it needs to at least have the word Chad in it 3 times.
I love that all of you made characters that would absolutely be like that. Like, our group should be named after me. So good.
We don't
Maybe
need.
we can make a musical group, you know?
Yeah,
The
Chad and the
Beatles.
Chads.
How about
Chads and Chaddy.
Hey, random British dude, welcome to the stream.
how about
1.5 Chads?
Oh my god.
The Beatles.
I like that actually.
So you guys are walking down the road to the graveyard, and you're just kind of like BSing along the way and chatting it up with each other, trying to come up with a little name for your adventuring group. And you get to this slope that starts to head down, and you can see the soil kind of turns into this like ashy gray color, and you can see the tops of these like different looking tents that they're like almost a little bit nicer, the tents in this area. And then you can see this like metal fenced in area where the graveyard is at, and there's like a big funeral pyre outside of the graveyard fence, and you can see this big, like, shaman's hut outside of it. Hey, Vex, welcome to the stream, buddy.
Why are these tents so freaking nice? We're living in Slumsville.
They're
and these
definitely
tents are like
they're not
gilded.
like they're not. they're nice, but they're like yours. They're like patchwork. Like people have like been here a while and they've like made these things look nicer. Like they've worked on them, you know. Like the other ones in like just like the slave quarters are just like people are so dejected that they don't care and they don't fix their stuff up. But these people like. There's some order here.
Oh, we definitely got to
So
move,
people
guys.
around
We're in a
us?
bad neighborhood. We're like the returning champions, and we're living next to Jim Bob and his daughter. Not okay with not okay with it.
Is that people around us?
Yeah, when we get back, we're moving our crap, okay?
You can see someone is like tending the yard at the graveyard, and then there's somebody that's just like sitting like cross-legged in front of the big fire pit, and maybe they're like cooking something over the fire and just hanging out. Like these people just woke up as well. It's like maybe 8 o'clock in the morning.
I ask someone, hey, buddy.
The guy that's like raking the grounds at the graveyard like looks up and says, "You're new here. Welcome. What can I do for you?"
Hello.
Hey, you mind doing me a
Looking for
favor, guys?
Zegala. Zada? What's
Zerl!
her name? Zerul.
It's a female. A girl. I don't know what it is, though. No one explained that.
He says, you haven't met Zerl yet. Well, you're in for a treat. She's right inside the main hut there.
Just have one question. Is she hot?
He like laughs a lot at that. He's
What's
like
so funny?
He's like, you see for yourself, buddy. She's the most important character you're going to meet today. He says that. He says she's the most important character you're going to meet today. I guarantee you that.
Meta us? Does he just meta us?
That was weird.
Yeah. Hut. Unward dragon.
Hey,
Anyways.
I tossed the guy a gold coin and say, "Can you collect this specific plant?" I show him the listing for us. We need a fair bit. It's for the betterment of the cat.
He tosses the coin back to you and says, "I don't need this. I'll show you where it's at, but I won't do your work for you."
Roll persuasion.
Yeah, go for it. He tosses your gold back to you and says, "I don't need this. I'll show you where it's at, but I won't do your work for you."
Roll intimidation.
Go for it.
Now you're gonna do it, huh?
Chad! Tell me how you're going
Grab
to
him by the
intimidate
shoulder
this
and
guy.
tell him where to go.
You are going to intimidate him with Chad?
Yes, Chad, come here, buddy.
Chad, what
We need
what do you do?
this
What,
plant.
what
and
do
this
you
guy's
want?
being obstinate.
You want me
we
to
need
grab
this
this
plant.
man? What?
How about you show him a little ice breath?
Like on his tippity toes?
Tippity toes. Give him gangrene. Frostbite. Both.
Ooh. All right, this is gonna sting.
As soon as you as soon as the first little ice molecule comes out of your mouth, Chad, you instantly feel this wave of force and you're blasted back about 15 feet into the dirt. And
No, good
you look up
news.
and you see a guard on top of the towers holding up one of those like rods and just like scowling at you. And the guy with the rake just like continues to rake and he's like, Zeryl's inside, you morons. And he just goes back to work.
Will do fell too.
Is that the same guard that told me to shut up that day? I'll throw something at him. Roll a throw.
You absolutely can do that. I'll roll an athletics check and you pick up a rock and you attempt to throw it.
Nice.
All right, so you find the nicest looking like fist-sized rock. Like this is a good throwing rock. Like this would smash somebody's head probably. And you square up at this guard who is looking right at you as you are planning on doing this because he's been watching you guys this entire time. And you know this guy, like he kind of gave you some shit before, and now he's posted up on top of the tower, and you just reel back and you get a nice like even fastball pitch at this guy, and he just raises the rod up, and his timing is like perfect, and the rock is launched directly backwards in its path, and it hits you in the face.
Okay. Go do.
1 second, please. Let me break out my dice for the day. I haven't used them
Oh,
yet.
Jesus Christ.
Show you guys my awesome
Take damage.
D4 there, this sweet little pointy thing. And, ooh, 4. You take 4 damage to the face.
Get that nurse.
Take that for dirt and humiliation.
Thanks for the host chocolate. See you later.
And go to Ward Barrow. Daru?
Go do, don't leave.
And I pat on his head and I say it's okay. And I kick him.
So,
Shit,
And I
go do.
wanna roll because I wanna inflict damage.
you are going to try to kick Darrow hard enough to damage him?
Yeah.
All right.
Because of him I falling down.
All right, so make an attack roll.
No, 3.
3. All right, you
You have to beat my armor class.
you kick and it goes over the top of him, and you kind of just whiff, and the
Idiot.
dirt does like fly up and cover him in a little bit of dirt, but he
I said, the god that waits you today. But be careful.
scrambles to his feet, and while you guys are like causing this ruckus, and the guy with the rake is now, he just like stopped working. He's just like watching you guys. The guard is like actually laughing so hard that you can hear him from up on his tower now, because you guys are just like making an idiot of yourselves. And you can see the shaman's hut. Actually, the door opens, and this massive old half orc woman with like a bald spot directly on top of her head leans out, and she looks at all of you guys, and she's like, "What the hell is that noise going on out here?"
What the hell are you?
And she like stares at you, and she says,
Is she the lady that raped you?
"The name's Zeril.
Oh, man.
Come on in. I think we have business to attend to."
Hey! Give me my dagger.
She's inside the hut now. She's no longer
Oh.
listening.
A Russian.
Okay. So you guys
Chad's got a weird feeling about this.
going in?
Before I go in,
Yeah,
I
he's
yell
locked
to the
in while
guard.
saying that.
Before I go in, I yell to the guard and say, "Watch when I become Lord. You're going to be the first one that wipes my ass."
He just like looks at you as you say that, and he just like shakes the rod at you and laughs.
Watch it, buddy. And I go in.
He just like twists it in his fingers and waves at you, and you go inside Zeril's hut. So you walk in, and you Goldu's kind of like rushing in, like trying to get in there. He's like, "This freaking crazy half orc lady stole my dagger." And you all get in there behind him, and she already, by the time you've got in, you go in, and it's this big circular wooden room, and it looks like a pretty nicely put together room, like these nice wooden floorboards, and in the middle of the room is like a hole cut out from the floor, and there's another fire pit going here, and it's nice and warm in here, and there's some kids playing on the corners of the room, just like hanging out, and there's some other like half orc men and women and some human men and women playing with their children and sitting around the fire. And Zeril is sitting in this like wooden, like you could call it like a throne, but it's more like like the chair that like the Jarls in Skyrim sit in. Like they're like the heads of these keeps, but they're not like king's thrones. They're like just a badass chair in a nice place. Like She's at the head of this room, but she's not trying to like be royalty or anything like that. She just has like the main spot in this room, and she's already like let herself back into the hut, and she's sitting there waiting for you guys to come and present yourselves in front of her.
I scream at her. Why stole from me?
She waves a hand and like beckons you over, and she says, "Calm down now. Nobody's stolen anything, but except for you, maybe." And she winks at you and laughs.
Haha, give my dagger.
She says, in time. No worries. And she pulls it out from this like bag that she has in front of her, and it's this like yellow leather bag that has kind of this weird dust swirling around it, and she pulls the dagger out, sets it on her lap, and she says, "Come, sit in front of me." And she beckons you all to these like 3 pillows sitting on the floor in front of her chair.
Nice. I grabbed the fluffiest pillow for me.
All right, there definitely is one pillow that looks like way better, and you sit on that one.
Chad sits on the smallest pillow.
It's like comically small of a pillow, and one of the kids on the corner like is watching you, and he's like, you can hear him whisper to his mom like, "Oh my god, is that a dragon?" And then you sit on the tiny pillow, and all the kids like erupt with giggling fits and laughter. Darrow,
About you,
what are you doing?
Darrow? Move your ways.
I take a seat. I'm pretty upset about her not being hot.
You're still like rubbing your face where this rock hit you, and you pull your hand back, and it reveals that you have a little bit of like a shiner going, got a little bit of a black eye brewing, and Zero looks at you and she says, "Hello, Darrow. You look a little rough this morning. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry we had to meet under these circumstances."
Did you send somebody to talk to me last night? I don't know.
She looks
It's kinda
surprised
weird.
when you say that, and she says, "No. Who talked to you last night?"
Well, they didn't particularly say their name. They just kind of pointed at me, sat their butt on my bed, kind of made it really quiet, and told me to find you and tell you that sorry, tell me to tell you, wait, to seek you out and tell. I don't know, that rock hit me
Jesus
pretty hard,
Christ.
dude.
She's laughing about this, and she says, "Well, what do you have to tell me?"
Something about Rabble and where we came from.
She's
I
like
don't know. Golden, do you remember?
blown back in her chair when you say that, and she says, "I know who you all are, just because I know things that happen here in the pit. I have people, and we've had an eye on you since you arrived. How does a newcomer to chance know of Rabble?"
Oh, we go way back. Rabble's the homie.
She's surprised about that, and she says, "Rabble was a close companion of mine here.
How long ago?
She left some months ago on her journey, which now I take it was to find you." And she pulls that dagger off of her lap, and she's like, "So I guess I was right in taking this. I had a suspicion that that's what was going on, and I have a feeling like I know who talked to you last night as well, Darrow." And she pulls some other items out of the bag, and 1 second here, friends. I'm going to copy and paste these item descriptions into a message, and I'll send it to each of you in the Discord. You're all going to get an item now. This is just some meta stuff here.
Are we allowed to tell each other?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna have each of you like
Can
tell
we see what
the stream what it is. Yeah, and I'll tell you what you get as she hands it to you. Like it's gonna actually be a thing, but I'm just telling you guys like their actual items and just either keep this description or write it down or add it into your inventory or whatever, but like these are items that you're gonna keep.
Trey.
So she pulls these items out of this bag and she says, the same force that empowered Rabble and contacted her to seek you out is the force that we here look to for spiritual guidance. We don't have a proper name for it, but it empowers the lowly and the beaten down people of the pit, and we take strength from it, and it sent Rabble on the quest to find you all to save us. And she pulls out these items, and let me send them to you. 1 second here. Got them all copied in my notes. So, Goldu, she hands you your dagger and she says, this one, I had to take this from David. I apologize. It's the only thing I had that would work for what I wanted to give to you and what our God told me to give to you. And she hands you your dagger that's now got this like really cool serrated edge on it. And it has some new abilities that you can see. And I'm sending these all to you in a message so you can check them out.
Nice.
And she hands you the dagger and it's got this like glowing aura to it. And it looks like you handed David like this like janky little like common dagger. And you've been handed back this like gold handled curved dagger with a serrated edge, and the blade is like this reddish gold color, and it looks like this thing like came out of like a museum. It's like this crazy badass looking thing.
Sweet.
And then
I bite in it to see if it's not junk.
it's like it hurts your teeth. It is like solid as hell. And let's see, she looks at Darrow and hands you this small like wooden trinket and says to you like, this is imbued with the power of our God. Take good care of it.
It's pretty similar to what seems like it's pretty similar to what we do to our ships. Thank you.
And she hands Chad this. She pulls out of the bag this plastic item, and plastic doesn't even exist in this world. And she says, this was put into my bag by our God. I don't even understand what these are. Maybe you'll understand. And she's holding it up and like looking through these weird lenses and trying to understand what's going on. And she hands it to Chad, and Chad, it's this like cool blue plastic pair of sunglasses.
For fuck's sakes.
Whoa, these are pretty cool. And then Chad like looks around inside the tent and then does like a tiny little like frost breath.
Nice.
Signify how cool he feels.
Get out and come back, please.
It seems like your frost breath is like slightly cooler. All right. So to everyone in the stream, really quick, 1 second. Also, Goldu, I know you're rolling with this like badass dagger in the thing.
Yeah, I'm just adding it to my inventory.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say like the actual dagger I gave you is definitely not a +5. I don't know if that's
+5.
Because it's showing +5. Maybe that's your proficiency and everything.
Yeah, because I did the same damage and stuff as a regular dagger.
Okay, so the new dagger is instead of like a 1d4. I think regular daggers are 1d4 damage, right?
1d4, yeah. It's like a short sword.
Okay, yeah, this one is a 1d6, so it does a little bit more damage than a regular dagger, but it has some special abilities. And I will read all the abilities to everyone in the stream really quick. So Goldu was given this this magical dagger that it does 1d6 damage, and anytime it does a killing blow on an enemy, that enemy like turns into their blood turns into gold, and he gets to roll a d100, and whatever the number lands on, he gets that much gold. And as a bonus action, he can throw the dagger up to 20 feet and teleport to the dagger 1 time per day. Darrow, you were given a magical trinket called the Resting Reed, and anytime you can put that reed into your bagpipes, and anytime you play it for one of your companions, your bardic inspiration can also heal them by 1 die equal to their hit die size, and it gives you a +1 to any like charisma checks that you were to make. Like you can accompany your charisma checks with some music and make them a little bit better. Chad, awesome. You were given the Sapphire Shades. You get a +1 to your total HP for every level that you are. So right now you're level 3, you get an extra 3 HP to your max. And you also get +1 to all your intimidation, persuasion, or deception checks, because people can't see what you're trying to do because they can't see your eyes.
Nice.
Sick.
Yes. So, yeah, you got stocked up. You got your first magical items, and Zeril distributes these, and she like folds this bag back into itself, and it just disappears. And she says, "You all were sent here for a reason, and I don't know exactly what that is. I know that you are supposed to save us all from whatever is going on here. I don't have all the information. Our God doesn't give any one person all the information. It gave Rabble enough to find you, and I think it gave me enough to tell you that you are destined to leave this island and find a special person that will lead you back here when you have gained strength, and you will free us all in some form." And Zeril kind of like, the dust that's like flying around her, like this magical like grayish golden dust, is like going really crazy, and she's like getting this vision, and she says like, "Something's going to happen to you today, and you have to be prepared for it, and you just have to remember us and what everyone here is giving for you." And all the like kids in this room are like really quiet, watching you guys and like whispering to each other like, "Who are they? What is going on here?" And she says like, don't make me regret giving all of these to you guys." And she says, go find Crack Clash now. Things are going to unfold quickly, and you have to be prepared. And she like gets like really exhausted from like whatever vision she saw.
Magic is scary.
Did you say, did she die?
I guess, yeah, it's pretty old, man.
She's not that old. She's old, but she's not gonna die.
Idiots.
Right now, maybe. I don't know. She's tired. She's not dead.
Oh, I guess since she's napping, like the old lady she is, they should take her leave.
Yeah, dude.
Actually, is there anyone else there besides the kids?
Yeah, like all their parents and stuff. Like you can tell this is just the room of her like closest like religious followers. They just kind of hang out and want to be around her presence, and they're just like sitting around the fire on the edges of the room. They're all kind of just watching you guys like they're in awe, because obviously you guys have something to do with their like religious leader, if she would give you like magic items and this like prophecy. But they're also like super freaked out. They're like, what is going down in this place today?
Is she in no mood to speak? Is she like done for?
You can say stuff. Yeah, go for it. Whatever you want to do. I'm just saying she's a little wore out from getting this premonition, and she's just like slumped back in her chair. She's not like passed out or anything.
Hey, hey, old lady. You have any idea what came to see us? Is that like your god or anything? Should we be looking forward to this guy? Is it okay to listen to him? I mean, obviously, it led us to you, and it was pretty good. But next time this thing appears to me in my sleep and decides to have a chat, uh, should I stab it? Basically, is what I'm asking.
She says, oh no, he's if it is who I think it is, he's a friend. And
Who is it? That's my question.
she says it's not my place for me to say it, but he's a messenger of the powers that guide us all through here.
You're nice
Oh.
and vague today, aren't you? Nice and vague, huh?
With that, she like falls asleep, but she like opens one eye like she's not really asleep, and she like fake snores.
No,
Yours, man.
I need a question.
She like opens the eye again and looks at you. She's like, "What?"
Can we keep the head of our defeated friend, Jinx?
Uh, she like wakes back up for a second. She's like, "What the hell? No!" And she's like,
Why?
"Nobody will be desecrating any corpses here. We'll have the ceremony for him tomorrow when we do the rest of them." And she's like, explains how their burial process works there. They take like all of the dead and they have this big like rite of passage to the afterlife ceremony with all of the people in the graveyard area.
I understand. But
My
once it's
turn.
done, can I get the head?
She just laughs and she's like, "Sure."
Yes.
I turned to one of the kids and I asked them, I throw them a coin and asked them, can they go collect those plants for us? Because we kind of need them.
One of the kids like happily like takes the gold piece and like turns to his mom and says, "Mom, can I go?" And she's like, "Yeah, as long as like they go with you to watch over you, like don't go anywhere by yourself." And the kid says, like, "I can take you right to where they are. I go over there all the time."
Cool, no problem. I got one more thing for you, little kid. You can make one more coin if you when you approach that gate. There's a guard there, and we're friends. Don't worry about it. We're friends. I just need you to say your mom stinks and Daryl's better than you in every way, and be prepared to wipe my poop in a few days. Can you do that, little kid?
The kid is like confused. He's like, "What?" And looks back at his mom, and the mom is like, maybe you shouldn't go with these guys."
I throw the mom 2 coins.
And she's like, "All right, go have fun, kid."
See you later.
And he leads you out of the hut, and like right behind the hut, like towards the wooden like wall of the area, he leads you right towards the base of the wall, and it's in between like the wooden wall and the metal fence of the graveyard. You can see this little like patch of like weeds and rocks and stuff, and he's like, "Me and my friends come play over here all the time. I think this is what you're looking for," and like it's just like all over the place over there.
Wait, weed as marijuana?
Definitely not.
Definitely not weed.
Shame.
All right, kid. How fast can you collect 10 of these plants? Let me see.
By the time you're like halfway through that sentence, he like hands you 10 of them.
Awesome. I give him a ration and tell him to go back to his mom.
He's like, "All right, see you later, sucker," and he runs off and he's giggling.
Wait. You didn't tell the guard what I told you to tell
And
him.
he's just laughing and he's like, "You suck," and runs away.
Piece of shits around here, man. No morals, no discipline. Everybody here sucks. I swear to God, you gotta get out of this place. Chad, never mind moving down here. They're worse. God, somebody of my class around this place. I can't stand these people.
I always had a question, Daryl. Can I ask you?
What did you say?
I have a question for you.
Yes, Goldo.
When you transform into a woman, do you transform into a woman?
Chad has something else to do.
All right. As you guys are like bantering here, Chad kind of hits you both on the shoulders and starts walking away.
Goldo, I don't have the ability to transform you,
No,
but
you.
I can give you some pointers on how to be a woman if you want.
No, you turn into a woman in the pit.
Want me to become a woman?
He's asking you about how you turned into the lady when you were in the pit.
Oh, well, you know, based on my bardic skills and all, it's just a simple little magical spell. Didn't become a woman, actually. I took on the appearance of woman. Is that
I
all?
see. Guldu disappointed, but he don't understand.
Godo, I don't. You know what? I'm just gonna walk away from you because that was a little creepy. So, yeah, I'm just gonna go follow Chad.
All right, you guys are
follow.
following Chad, and Zeril said to go and find Crackalash.
Clash.
Clash.
Are you guys
We need
heading
to
heading
Need
towards
to
his
get
tent,
like
or
need to get like a sleigh and hook it up to Chad so he
Yeah,
can drag us
see.
everywhere.
Crack Chad.
So it's been like a few hours now. You probably spent like a couple minutes in the Trader's Row talking to people and getting your booze from the drunken dwarf guy, and it took you maybe like 30 minutes to pick those herbs that you needed, and you have headed off and you're heading towards Cracklash's tent, and on your way you see like a big group of people like already growing like inside the pit. Like you can see just like hordes of people gathering, and like you can already hear the noises around the pit. Like it's a big day and there's a lot of people in the arena, and you get to Cracklash's tent and you go inside and he's standing in there waiting for you guys already.
Cracklash, we're back.
It's like
Hey, what's up?
busy day, lads. Welcome back. How did the slums treat you today? Hopefully you didn't get into any trouble.
Now we
Yeah.
straight.
Do you see my eyes?
It's like, oh, did you get into a spat with somebody?
Spat's a strong word. A little bit of a disagreement with one of the esteemed guards of our pit here.
He laughs at that and he's like, well, it takes everyone around here a couple encounters to learn how that works.
Did you
Yeah,
see
I'm on
my
encounter
eyes?
number 2.
He looks at Chad and he's like, the hell is on your face, dragon?
It's my new eye armor. Isn't it cool?
He actually like strokes his chin at that one and he's like, fascinating. I'll have to think about that. And then he like shakes his head a little bit and turns back and he's like, anyways, they've scheduled your fight for the day. It's about ready. We can go to the prep room anytime unless you guys have anything else to do. I imagine you'll be starting here in about 20 minutes.
Hell yeah, baby. What we fighting?
He says, well, I don't know, but I would imagine after yesterday's impressive fiasco, it's going to be something interesting, that's for sure. I imagine Rosiel and our gracious leader here want to throw something impressive at you, so I would be prepared for the worst.
Have you talked to her since then? Has she mentioned me?
He says, unfortunately, no, I have not.
Damn it.
Fortunately for me, but unfortunately for you, he laughs.
Did you like my little performance? Thought I was good.
He cracks up at it and he's like, yeah, that was awesome. I really liked seeing Rosiel get her ass kicked.
Oh yeah, it's going to be repeated, that one.
He's like, all right, bring it on. Let's go. Yes.
Before we go, I apply one of those bandages to my freaking eyeball.
Oh,
I lost 3 damage.
Sure. So roll 1d8. Nice. All right, you gain 3 HP.
Perfect.
And make sure you just keep track of how many of those you have there.
Way ahead of you.
Cool. So you guys are ushered down the stairs unless you have anything else you wanted to do really quick. He's leading you towards the prep room at the bottom of the pit, and you are ready to roll here. Everybody good to go?
I'm going to go ahead and disguise myself as Rosiel again.
Sure. Is that a cantrip, or was that one of your actual spells?
That's an actual spell.
Interesting. All right.
I do have 4 spell slots now, not 1, so I'm okay with that now.
All right. So mark a spell slot, and you now have taken Rosiel form. And everyone watching, you can now see the map. The arena has been changed. The appearance was changed. It's full of these overgrown dead trees and these ruins, and there's a large tower you can see at the other side of the arena, and you can see right on the other side as you look through the portcullis you're still in the preparation room, but as you look through the door, you can see past the tower on the other side of the arena, there's a huge towering, probably like 15-foot tall statue that resembles like a giant bull with a huge axe. And it's a statue just sitting in the arena. And Cracklash gets into the prep room with you guys and kind of like shakes hands with all the other guys training in there and sets up a target dummy for one of the other guys, and then he looks through the door and he just freezes. And
Cracklash, just what the hell is that?
He turns back to you guys and he says, well, it's been nice knowing you guys.
You piece of shit, Cracklash. You knew.
I really hope that you make it out of this one. This is going to be tough.
Crackjack, can you tell me one thing? How did they plant so many dead trees in one day and then they all grew?
He says, you can't plant a dead tree, Chad. Did you go to school?
Well, then how did all those trees come out in one day? And no, I didn't go to school. I was a gladiator.
He just shakes his head and he's like, of course. Any other questions?
That was it.
Cracklash, what is that, Cracklash?
He says, well, this is one of the tools of the nobles. These are the exotic items that they transport in from the pirates. These collections of beasts and curiosities that they have, and they pit us against them. This is one of the more famous ones. It's a beast. I don't know how to explain it. It's a killer.
You have already saw it fight?
He says yes, and he looks very nervous and taken aback by it. He says, I've never seen it lose, that's for sure.
Do you have any advice?
Don't let it hit you.
No shit, Sherlock.
Nice, Cracklash. You're amazing. It's just like, I'm starting to think this is a bit one-sided here. I mean, you're not really doing a whole lot to assist us. This is actually ridiculous. You spend all day planting dead trees, and then you look at us like you're just, like, what are you actually doing for us, Cracklash? Honestly,
he just kind of like stares at you, and he's like, I'm trying to keep everyone here alive, not just you three. You three can handle yourselves, and there's nothing I can do. I didn't plant the trees in the arena. They change the arena magically every day based on the whims of our captors. And believe me, if I had any choice in this, nobody would be fighting that thing. But you three are going to be, so.
You did plant dead trees.
There's nothing I can do.
You planted us.
He
damn, that's the most intelligent thing I heard Chad say.
Intelligent. That was pretty sound logic.
He looks into your glasses and he just is like, what? And then he just like motions toward the door and he's like, they're ready for you out there. And you can hear the crowd like stomping, like there's some like chants going on. They probably have like their own versions of like sports themes and chants that the crowd is like stomping and singing along to.
I'm warming up.
And
Hear that, chat? They love you, man. They love you. Get pumped, chat. Get pumped.
you can hear them chanting like this like 3-syllable like phrase, but you can't really catch what it is because you're so far away from the crowd right now.
I wanna stealth too before it start.
Sure, yeah.
I roll or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. 18.
All right, you're like crouching behind the door before it opens, and you feel particularly sneaky.
Straight. Let's go, bitches.
Can you roll real quick before we do anything? Okay, the door opens, and you are thrust into the arena, and it closes behind you. And you find yourself in this newly changed arena. It's a little bit of like a foggy, dark, and dull, like dead forest with this tower. It's still daylight out, like it's an open pit, so it's not that dark, but it's like foggy kind of. And the crowd is like chanting Minotaur, Minotaur over and over again.
It's a fancy way to say champions.
And the ground is shaking from how hard they're stomping and chanting this, and the doors slam shut on both sides, and the golden clad man walks out on his balcony and like slams down his like fancy version of the guard's rods, like this super tall like staff with like a fancy head on top, and he's got this like badass like golden hammer in the other hand, and he sits down on his chair and slams them both down, and the horns go off, and the battle has begun. And yes, we can take a quick 5-minute break before we start the fight here, because this is going to be an intense one.
We're gonna die. At least I'm gonna die.
So we will take a quick short break, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the stream. If you are with us in the chat, I thank you very much for being here. We will be back in just a few minutes. You guys want to just take like 5?
Yeah, that's fine. Just grab some water.
Okay. All right. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Thank you guys very much for being here.
I'm back.
You believe?
I believe, baby. Who they can hear us on the stream.
Yeah. You know what you need to do is obviously the things that are statues are the most powerful, so we need to become a statue.
What?
I think you're right, dude.
Yeah.
You guys smoking
You
some of
can't-
those plants we dug up?
You can kill
I
us.
mean, I do have frost breath, but that's a different kind of smoking.
And the
I
messed up
do
part
have
is
a question for
depending on
Chad.
what this thing's made of.
All right, we're back. What are you guys planning here?
I was just telling them that I could have took maybe a spell that could have helped us out immensely, but I didn't. But if this thing's made out of anything other
Nice.
than blood, it could have like shattered it.
You definitely can try something like that. If
Unfortunately.
only you had that spell.
No. Like, man, this would be useful. Oh wait, this is cool.
Well, you live and you learn. Or you die.
We have to fight a statue of a cow.
The last statue nearly killed you.
All right, so you guys ready to go? Everybody's
I
back.
won.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mac, I'm ready.
All right, so you are thrust into the arena. The crowd is roaring. The golden armored man stepped into his balcony and blasted the horns, whatever I called them last time, the trumpet type things, and he starts the battle, and the confetti flies everywhere. People start placing their bets, and the whole crowd is just stomping and cheering Minotaur over and over again. Minotaur, Minotaur. And the three of you are on the other side of the battlefield from this hulking 15-foot statue of a Minotaur.
Do we roll initiative?
Yes, please. All right, David Windlow says, good luck, guys. Looks like Goldu is at the top of the initiative, followed by Darrow, then Chad. Interesting. All right, so you see this statue. It appears to be still. People are cheering. And the golden armored man has started the battle and is looking curiously, but just kind of looking around the crowd. It's an extremely busy day at the arena. It's full of people. Like, probably for some reason people aren't really working today. This is like 90% of the townsfolk are packed into this thing. This is the place to be today. Everybody's here. And Goldu, you have snuck in here. The crowd can see that you're in here, but you're maybe obscured by some of the trees as soon as you popped in, and it's your turn.
This is stealth, right?
Exactly.
Can I make it to the tower next to the statue?
You can
Or is it too far?
You can try. You can move however you want. You have 30 feet of movement, correct? Or 25? I don't know.
25.
Little guy.
25. Yeah.
But you can also use your cunning action to dash, and you can use an action to dash, I believe. So you can probably make it just about wherever you want.
I want to try to climb on top of the tower. Or inside. I don't know if... I want to try to see if we can enter the tower first.
Okay, so you're going to use your movement. I'm going to assume you just aren't going to move after this, so you'll make it up to the front. Let's say you're in front of the tower door. So what would you like to do?
I try to open the door.
Okay, so you get to this big, like, giant stone tower that's been built in this arena, and it seems pretty sturdy. It's made out of these giant, like, stone blocks, and the door is like a big door that doesn't have any sort of apparent handles on it. It looks like maybe it opens from the inside like a drawbridge, but there's no No handles or levers or anything that you can see.
Is there windows?
Yes, they are probably towards the top of the tower. I'd say about 30 feet up in the air. It's pretty tall.
Can I climb it?
You can try.
Yeah, I wanna try.
Okay. You have an ability that aids your climbing, correct?
Second story work. I link on the.
Okay, this ability you can climb faster than normal. Climbing no longer costs you extra movement. In addition, when you make a running jump, you can jump farther. Okay, so you can climb without like using any extra movement. We'll say that you still have a couple of feet of movement left over, so you can attempt to climb up to this window, but you're like looking around and there's not any good handholds here, so you're gonna have to make an acrobatics check.
Yep. 22.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Okay, so you kind of like see a couple spots where you can wedge some, like maybe some of the gear you had in your pack and maybe a dagger, and you wedge it in between some of the stones, and you climb your way up to the windows, and they have been sealed off from the inside with some like wooden planks or something like that.
Damn it.
You're like standing on the ledge on the outside of the tower, like there's a ledge all the way around.
Can I try to keep the wooden?
Sure. I'm assuming that after moving all the way over here and climbing the tower, you are out of actions.
Alright. Then I
So
sit down.
on your next turn, you can probably try to break in if you want to try to do that. So Darrow, it's your turn.
Is Bardic Inspiration an action, or is just like a bonus?
It says in the thing. I think you have to use your bonus action to bestow inspiration on your companions. David says, if you guys look up in the stands, you'll see David the blacksmith rooting for you guys.
Thank you, David.
All right, so Darrow, your turn here.
All right, Chad's standing right next to me, correct?
Yep.
I go, Chad-o-kun, Chad-o-kun, Chad-o-kun. And that's my bardic inspiration for Chad.
Sure. Chad, you've been bestowed with 1d6 bardic inspiration die. So the next time you make, I believe, an ability check, an attack roll, or a saving throw, you can add that die to it.
Oh, yes.
And Darrow, you use your bonus action. You can still use your movement and your action.
Give me 1 second. I have to look up this spell.
Sure. Also, the crowd is laughing again because they just saw Lady Rosiel chanting Chad-o-kun.
Oh, I appreciate them, guys. Remember, I actually forgot that I even did it, to be honest with you. Okay, so enhance ability. You can touch a creature bestow upon a magical enhancement. Choose one of the following effect. Targets gain that effect until the spell ends. Bears endurance. Target has an advantage of Constitution checks and gains 2d6 temporary hit points. Is that until it's up to 1 hour.
What are you trying to do?
I'm going to use enhance ability on Chad. I'm just trying to figure out what will go better with Chad. Chad, how much HP do you have?
32.
Jesus. Chad, do you want strength or do you want additional hit points? Or maybe do you want to be quicker?
How much strength and how much hit points?
The target has advantage on strength checks and his or her carrying capacity double. He'll have advantage, I guess, on strength checks.
Yeah, I can already get that with rage.
Okay.
So hit points probably.
Okay. I'll cast enhance ability. And I'll use Bear's Endurance.
Okay.
Which is a 2d6 temporary hit points for him.
All right.
And it's lost when the spell ends.
Okay. Do you... Oh, so does that spell have concentration?
Yes.
Okay. So concentration, you guys, I have not explained this to you. So any new viewers who are just getting into the game, or for you guys that don't know, concentration is a mechanic that is built into spell casting, and it's when you cast a spell that is particularly difficult lore-wise to pull off or hard to maintain concentration on. Your character has this mechanic called concentration that you can only have one concentration spell active at a time. If you cast a new one, the old one gets the concentration broken, essentially. And if you get hit or you get attacked, then you have to roll a concentration check equal to either the damage that you took or 10, whichever one is higher, right? So let's say you get hit by an attack and it does 7 damage to you, then you'll have to beat a DC 10 concentration check because 10 is higher, and it's always at least 10. So you have to roll at least a 10 or your concentration is broken when you get hit if you're trying to concentrate on a spell. Other than that, everything is normal. You can still cast other spells, just not other concentration spells. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Like while you're trying to enhance ability on Chad, this is something that you are like constantly using your mental abilities to maintain this buff on him. And you can still do your other things, but it's just like in the back of your mind. And if you get hit, there's a chance that you'll kind of like screw up for a second and you'll lose the spell.
Got you.
So you are now concentrating on enhance ability. So just keep that in mind if you get attacked or whatever. And do you roll the 2d6 or does Chad? I imagine it's you. Let's see. It gains 2d6 temporary hit points, which are lost when the spell ends. All right, so yeah, I'll have you do it. So roll 2d6, please, Darrow. 10. All right, so Chad, you have 10 temporary HP.
Woo-hoo.
Temporary HP also
Damn,
does not
Chad.
stack. So if you gain temp HP from any other source, you have to choose which one you want.
Okay.
Does not stack. So you currently are at a healthy life total, and Darrow, you can still make your movement for the turn if you'd like.
Are these trees impeding our movement, or
If you
are they
go
just, like,
into
kinda
any
there?
of the like woodland areas or the ruins or any of that stuff, it becomes difficult terrain, and it will take double the movement that it normally would.
All right. I want to move. I want to move into the middle. I don't know how I can mark it for you. 1, 2, 3, 3 spaces to my left. I'm just gonna sit there, and hopefully the thing doesn't notice me.
Okay, sounds good. You're crouching in some trees after you like buff the shit out of Chad and send him on his way. So after you do that, the crowd is like curious and sees you casting some spells and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, what the hell is Lady Rosiel doing there?" And you look up, and Lady Rosiel is in the crowd. She's actually in the balcony watching for the first time with that golden clad man, and she's looking down at you like very disapprovingly. And while you're looking around and seeing that, the statue, like the stone that's like holding the statue's arms and legs in place, just like shatters, and this thing like flexes and busts out of its form and takes its turn, and it stumbles about 25 feet forward,
She's not watching chat. She's watching me.
and it is standing right about there. And this thing like stands there, and it just like beefs itself up, and this like crazy smoke comes out of its like stone nostrils, and it's like this gray gaseous smoke that just spews out of it, and it's like this coal stack blowing into the sky as this thing just stands there and just like starts to like roar and like charge itself up.
Dad, he's only like half your size, dude. You got this, man.
It's about 15 feet tall.
Yeah, Chad's a giant. Chad thinks he's a giant.
Chad Supreme.
Scrumpox says, "Quick, someone milk it." It is now Chad's turn.
Chado-kun, 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 Chado-kun. Chad goes into a rage, but this is no normal, ordinary rage.
Would it happen to be a frenzy?
Yes,
Wow.
a magical level 3 frenzy rage.
Super rage. Okay. So
And
Chad's
Chad hypes
super
himself
grumpy.
super hard, and he just sprints towards the Minotaur looking thing.
Sprinting. Okay, so you run just right up in front of it?
Yeah.
All right.
Go get him, Chad.
You are directly in front of this beast.
Okay, well, I'm gonna swing to attack.
Okay. Go for it. What are you swinging with your greatsword?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This thing is like in the process of just like hulking itself up. It's like flexing and like stretching its arms, holding its this giant two-handed battle axe, and smoke is spewing out of it.
Jesus.
And you do this, like you go into a frenzy. Chad like mimics its movements and hulks yourself up as well, and you go and swing, and you just like whiff, like not even like you miss it. You swung early, and you didn't even get there before you swung, and this thing is just like, it almost stops doing the smoke thing for a second, and it just like is like, did you just miss? You missed.
No, that wasn't my real attack, and then I'll use my bonus action to attack.
The frenzy attack. Okay, so you get a bonus attack due to your frenzy, and you swing again. Let's see here. You actually connect this time, but your sword just kind of bounces off its stone flesh, and it seems like it's going to take a bit of a stronger attack to do any damage to this guy.
Maybe I'll use my right hand next time.
The crowd they gasp when you hit this thing, and like nothing happens, because they see Chad's a pretty beastie dude, and the crowd's like, oh, and then they go back to going, Minotaur, Minotaur. Like for a second they almost like they wanted to be on Chad's team, and then they're like, oh no, Minotaur. It's
I don't understand. No,
it's
Chado-kun.
it's Goldu's turn.
No.
Goldu, you are up on the ledge of the tower.
Break window.
Okay, make just a regular athletics check on this one. You're just gonna do like a strong kick, or hit it with a weapon, or?
Yeah, it's what my sword.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Do I add the damage? No.
Just roll an athletics check for this one.
No, 7.
You like reel back and attack the like wooden planks like covering the windows of this tower, and it seems hollow, like you could get through to the other side, but they're pretty sturdy, and you did not successfully do that.
Can I use my bonus roll to do it again?
Can you attack with a cunning action? I don't think you can.
Yeah.
We'll say that you used your cunning action as like your ability check, and now you can make an attack roll if you want to attack this thing.
18.
Sure. So you connect with your sword, roll damage against the window. Which, remember, would be 1d6 plus your dex.
What?
All right, you slam your short sword into this window, and it like breaks and like slides into the slot in between the boards and like splinters it open, and it's a wide enough opening that you can see inside, and you see that it's just like a level like stone floor on this top level, and there's no opening down, but you can like easily, like you're at the roof level of this tower.
Damn it! No magic secret item.
Guys, loot hunting while we're fighting for our lives.
Then I go. Can I still move or not?
Yeah, you haven't moved at all.
Wanna go toward the Minotaur, but still on the balcony, like.
Yeah, you can go and stand on the corner of the balcony on the tower if you
Yeah.
want. You would be about, you're pretty high up in the air. You're like 25, 30 feet up in the air, but you're maybe like, it's like 20 feet away on the ground from you, right?
Yep.
All right,
And I
you
take
are
a ration out of my bag and I eat.
okay. You are standing up on the tower and you pull out this like folded up ration and start eating, and the crowd just like goes wild, laughing and like screaming. Like half of the crowd is chanting Minotaur and half of them are screaming like fight him, and they're throwing tomatoes at you and stuff now.
And I
And I'm just
catch
screaming
up
at him,
tomato
piece of
and-
shit.
What's that?
I'm screaming piece of trash at him.
What did you say, Goldu?
Can I try to catch a tomato?
Yeah, you can roll roll to catch one.
Going on.
Catch is what? Just day 20?
That'll be like an acrobatics check. Like these things are
Oh.
flying through the air.
15.
You catch a tomato and you start to eat it as well.
Well, yeah.
All right, it is now the Minotaur's turn. This Minotaur like deflects the blow from Chad's greatsword. It just bounces off and like makes a little bit of a spark on its like stone flesh, and it actually backs up, and it backs up about 10 feet, and when it does that, it invokes an opportunity attack from Chad. So Chad, you get to make a free attack with your greatsword. Oh my god, you guys. Natural 20. Natural front 20 from Chad. So as this thing is backing away, it's like a big lumbering hulking statue that's still like spewing black smoke out of its nostrils. And Chad takes this opportunity and winds up and swings this huge greatsword, and it's a critical hit. So roll your damage twice, and then add your modifiers, please. Hey, random British dude, welcome back, man. Yeah, the greatsword is made great by the D20. All right, so 2d6 plus your. All right. So, oh yeah, you get 2d6 and then you get an additional 2d6, right?
Yeah, because the critical.
Cool. So 8, 9, 10, 15 plus your strength.
Mm-hmm. Which is 3.
Cool. And then
And
do you
then
get
my
extra damage for your rage and stuff?
Yeah, 2 damage for rage.
Very nice.
Jesus Christ.
So
Wait,
that's a straight up 20 right there, right?
Yes.
20 damage. All right. So this
20
thing
for 20.
This thing like hulkingly backs away, and you take a slash at it, and you like break a chunk off of its knee, and it like stumbles a little bit when it's backing up, and then this smokestack starts up again, and when it gets back about 10 feet back from where it was standing in front of you, it like bears down and charges back at you, and builds up momentum, and it rushes at you. Whoop. Okay. Can you guys still see the map?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. I thought I accidentally screwed something up. So it charges at you, and it is going to attempt to gore you with its stone horns. And it takes this charging, like, bear down. It's like almost on all fours, like climbing with the great axe in its hand still across the ground, and it takes a big swipe at you with its horns, and it misses, but then on its way up it takes a swing at you with its great battle axe, and it connects. So Chad, take 9 damage.
Oh.
Damn.
Oh,
Is
I'm
it
not
half?
moving from this spot.
9 damage is how much it normally does. So if you have any resistances to damage, then you can apply those.
Okay, so it'd be like half and like rounded down or whatever in my favor.
Okay, so 4 damage.
Yeah.
And
I have
then-
the temporary health.
Nice. So yeah, just take 4 off whatever your life total is at the time, and then you roll a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Okie dokes. I'm just gonna check if I have a bonus or if it's only for strength for my rage.
Oh, right, sure.
Yeah, it's only strength. Okay. So
D20
I got a
plus your con mod.
Oh!
my
monster.
God. Nat 20 again from Chad, everybody, not making this up. You feel this stone battle axe like graze across your chest, and you take a decent chunk from it, but this like weird magical ability, like as soon as the cut happens, the like black smoke that's spewing out of this thing like kind of is gravitated towards your wound, and it like almost like seeps into the cut, but it like dissipates before it gets there. And it is now Darrow's turn, I believe, goes after the Minotaur.
I want to make a perception check.
That's
to see
RNG
if,
for you.
to see if this thing's intelligent and can understand common or elvish or halfling.
We roll for I don't know what that would be. I guess insight.
Investigation, maybe?
It would probably be yeah, either insight or investigation. I'll let you choose whichever one you think you would do. Insight, you're gonna just look at this thing and see if you could like naturally tell like what was going on in his head, and investigation, like you'll study it for a second, like essentially the same thing. Yes, the new emote, Random British Dude. How do you like it? The awesome new girlfriend emote. I love it.
All right, I'll do the insight since I have a bonus.
Sure. All right, you look at this thing and you can tell like you fought a statue before, this like stone cursed, as the pirate called it, and you can tell that this seems to be animated in the same way. This would be like if a minotaur was turned into one of those cursed statues. It's a stone cursed minotaur, and it seems to be behaving just like a normal beast, but a little bit more slowly and powerfully, with some sort of magical ability with that smoke that's like spewing out of it. You probably wouldn't get any sort of response from it if you tried to talk to it. Whether or not it understands you, it's not going to be speaking back to you, you would imagine.
Right.
So much better in dark theme, the new emote. Yeah, it is. It's got the white lightning bolts.
I guess I'll move right to the edge of this thicket directly in front of me. Last
Right
line of trees.
there?
Yep.
Okay.
Can I reach
And
with my crossbow?
what's the range on your crossbow say? It should have 2 numbers. It should say like 30/60 or something like that, you know what I mean?
Just let me find it. Oh wait, no, I don't have a crossbow. My bad. I have proficiency in crossbow.
Okay. Well, you're thinking to yourself like, man, I would be really good with a crossbow right now if I had one. I'm
sorry you broke up.
You're thinking to yourself that if you did have a crossbow, you definitely would know how to use it.
Yeah. I'm like, damn, I wish I had that crossbow Jinx had.
Yeah.
Too bad he got snapped out of existence.
Yeah, you are at the edge of the tree line.
Are you able to toss spears?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm totally chucking this thing. How does that work out again?
There should be let me see here.
All right, so the range is 20, 60.
There you go. So if the target that you're throwing it at is within 20 feet, it's just a normal weapon attack. If it's within 60 feet but farther away than 20 feet, then you have disadvantage on the throw.
All right. I'd say that's probably 30, right? Since it's diagonal, it counts differently, right?
Yeah, I would bet he's like, since like he's a little bit diagonal, he's probably about 25 feet away. You do still have some movement left.
I'm too afraid to move any closer, to be honest with you.
Also, like you can move, you can split up your movement. Like you can move, attack, and then move again. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
how much
far,
movement do you think I have?
you
Maybe
have
10
used
left.
you have used about 20 feet of your movement. So you could move 5 feet, attack, and then move another 5 feet if you want to.
Okay, I'll step out to my right. That should be enough to hit it within 20, right?
I'll allow it, sure. Not going too crazy on the distance rules here. That's fine.
All right, how do I roll for this again?
So,
I have to roll to hit, right?
yep, just like a regular attack roll with the spear, whatever it says the damages and all that stuff. But roll to attack first. So, I'm guessing that that's a strength
Jesus Christ, never
roll.
mind.
So,
Yeah, I have minus strength. It would have just been worse.
okay. So you, how many spears do you have, by the way?
That was my only one. Don't
Okay,
worry.
you threw the spear and it landed at the Minotaur's feet, and just kind of plinked into the dirt on the ground.
Yep. Yeah.
You're gonna move back into the forest.
I'm moving back into the forest.
I do a thumb up at him. I don't know if he see, but
David, I got the artwork from my stream from the amazing Tweedler who made all of the graphics and emotes for the channel. All of the maps and assets are from Incarnate or Crosshead Studios. It is now Chad's turn. Is that right?
Yes.
Chad?
no, it's me. I'm first.
Right.
Last.
Chad.
Darrow's not last. Yeah, Chad's last. So
Oh yeah, use the action bonus for attack.
Alright, Chad is gonna go with a reckless attack this turn.
oh, okay. Roll your attack with advantage, sir.
Look at this guy, man.
Very nice. Chad just like picking up the team and carrying right now, and
Oh, cool.
takes a big old greatsword swing at the beast. Roll damage, sir.
And then that's +5, so that's 10.
All right, so you take a big overhand cleave at this thing, and you like bury it into its like stone shoulder, and it takes a big like rivet out of it, and it's just like got a big gash in the stone now, and it takes 10 damage.
Alright, now I'm going to frenzy attack.
That's your
Right
bonus action attack? Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And you get advantage for the rest of your turn on reckless attack, right?
That's what I believe, yeah.
Okay, I think so.
Alright, I'll just stop at the first one. Actually, no, just in case we get another 20.
Yeah, very nice. Insane rolls here by Chad, everyone. Like, all of these rolls have been above 20 with his bonuses and stuff. It's bizarre. You take it like the exact same swing, and it just like cuts that gash even further, and it's like starting to like almost expose like the flesh inside the shoulder of this beast, and there's just like the black smoke is spewing out from inside of it, and you deal
Look at this guy.
17 is the most.
17 damage. All right. Let me see here. It's just like spewing that black smoke out of the gash in its shoulder.
I just did like 47 damage.
Pretty
Yeah,
good, man.
okay.
Pretty good. It is now Goldu's turn. The crowd,
Let's actually do something this time, Goldu.
as Chad finishes his like cleaving of this stone statue that has just like charged and tried to gore him, the crowd is now like evenly split. Like half of them are still cheering for the Minotaur, but you can hear this faint like Chad O'Coon, like starting to grow in the crowd.
Can I plunge into the Minotaur?
So you're still on the balcony, and you can use that special ability that you have that allows you to like make a bigger long jump.
That cut. What did you say?
That ability you have, the like second story, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make like a long jump with that. I'll allow you to try to do that.
Yeah.
I think you have enough movement. Like you don't have to make any
Acrobatics?
sort of crazy roll. If you roll an acrobatics check, like yeah, you got it. 22, definitely. Like you leap from this like 30-foot balcony and you kind of soar, and you're essentially gonna land like in one of these back two squares here. Oh, 1 second. So you're like right on his back in the air. What are you doing?
Attack.
All right, and you were still like totally. He was unaware of your existence at this point. Like by the time he animated and started to attack, you were already like on the tower. So he never noticed you. So you are making a sneak attack against this guy.
10.
You rolled a 10 for your attack with your bonuses. If it's a sneak attack, you have advantage on it, so you get to roll another.
12.
Okay. So you come flying through the air on this guy, and you hang on 1 second. What is your dex bonus?
5. My
You,
dex bonus is 5.
you have 20,
Proficiency, right?
you have 20 dexterity.
No, 3.
So your dex
My
modifier is 3.
proficiency.
You are proficient in your weapon, so you actually miscalculated there. So you should have got a 14 on that last roll, right? So you have +3 dex and +2 from your proficiency.
Yeah.
So you got a 14, which that actually hits. So you got lucky there. That saved you.
Oh yeah, it's +5. Okay.
Yeah, not +3, +5. So you rolled a 14, which is this thing's armor class is 14. So you hit it, and you like fall down and like drive your brand new shiny weapon into this thing, and roll damage on your sneak attack. Which at this point it should be what, like 3d6 plus your modifiers now?
3d6.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You guys are getting pretty strong. I like it. Can throw some stronger enemies at you now.
Meanwhile, I'm just chilling in some trees.
Happens, right?
Happens.
Just my modifier is my dexterity, right? Or is it the +5 again?
Just your dexterity this time.
+3 then, so 19.
So 19. All right, you land on this guy and like drive the dagger into it, and as you're falling, like you like ride the dagger carving through the stone all the way to the ground and land behind this thing, and it like roars back and lifts its battle axe up into the air, and black smoke just like pours out of like every crack in this thing, and it spins around and does a giant cleave attack at everyone within 5 feet of it, and it hits both of you. And
Does that mean it's bloody, by the way?
It's pouring out massive clouds of black smoke. It doesn't appear to be any blood.
Armor class.
It rolled a 22. So it does this giant cleaving attack, and it does 9 damage to both of you. Chad, you take 4 again, I guess. And both of you make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Okay.
Also, I don't know if you guys will be able to stay on for a couple extra minutes, if that's okay with you guys. We're nearing the end of this fight, but I want to finish some stuff story-wise, so we might have to go a couple minutes extra if you guys are cool with that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Cool.
Always.
All right, so you both save, and you feel that black smoke like trying to like seep into your wounds again, but it just barely dissipates in time before it gets in there, and you both just take the regular damage, and the cleaves into you. However, it is now the Minotaur's turn, and the crowd is like going wild. It sees Chad just like hulk out on this thing and like do insane amounts of damage and cuts this thing apart in one turn. It sees Goldu like flying off the tower and like carving into his back. And they're like full steam, like cheering for you guys. And you look up, and the gold-plated man is like, He's like looking down in disgust right now and shaking his head, and Rosiel's like whispering in his ear, and he's just like looks just disgusted, and he is like tapping his staff on the ground and just looks pissed off. And the Minotaur spins around and makes an attack at Goldu, who just recently scared the hell out of him and surprised him. Probably didn't actually scare him. 23. So it hits, and it does another 9 damage to you. Make another Constitution saving throw, please. All right, you saved, so nothing happens, and it's going to make another attack at you. It's going to try to gore you with its horns as well. 9. That's probably not going to hit.
No, yeah, 40 armor.
Okay, so it misses with the horns, just takes a big cleave at you, and it's going to be done with its turn. Darrow, I think you're up.
Heal me.
Alright. What's your HP at, Golden?
Hello, I'm blooded.
Alright, let me look.
Hey,
I'm trying to look for the range. It doesn't look
I
on.
should have my cunning action after my attack, right? Forgot about
So-
that.
Oh, yeah, sure. You can use that.
Wanna
Yeah,
disengage?
I forgot.
Because I have to touch you, by the way. And you're, I'm not going over there.
I already finished my turn, so
Okay, that's fine.
We'll assume that like making that giant acrobatic leap through the air kind of used a little bit more of your energy than you thought.
yeah.
That's fair.
I guess I'll go stand next to the. Yeah, I'll go stand next to Goldu,
Okay.
and I will
Run across the battlefield real quick, like.
I'll cast Cure Wounds on Goldu.
Okay. Link it in the chat and cast it for us, please. Mark off your spell slot. Cure Wounds is a first level healing spell on touch. Heals for how much?
It's a D4. 1d8.
1d8 plus your spellcasting modifier. All right, so 9 points of damage are healed to you, Goldu.
Is that the roll, actually?
Yay!
Yep, it rolled a d8 plus your charisma.
Oh, cool. That's easy then.
So yeah, you are healed for 9, and you are
I'm saved.
slightly rejuvenated, and it's now Chad's turn.
Chad. We have advantage, so Chad
What's up,
is
Lich?
just gonna go reckless, and he is just gonna non-recklessly attack
Okay.
by being reckless mentally.
All right, make your attack roll.
So I will do a single attack roll this turn.
So you're not recklessly attacking.
Yeah, being reckless.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. So when you go to attack this thing, it's going to use its reaction and try to deflect your blow with its axe and do like a counter swing at you. It fails at that, and it goes up to block your blow, and you actually like strike it in the top of the head as it pulls up its axe, and you hit it. So roll damage. The gang is fighting a stone-cursed Minotaur Lich in the arena, and the crowd is going wild for the players here.
Schmeleven.
11 damage. All right, so you bring your sword down, and it sticks in the top of this thing's head, and smoke starts pouring out and rolling up from its snout and, like, going back in and trying to, like, fill in the gap of the stone in top of its head, and it's just, like, encircling this thing in, like, this crazy cloud of smoke, and the stone starts crumbling away a little bit, and, it gets weak and starts like swaying a little bit, and all of a sudden the horns in the arena like sound extremely loudly, and the cannons fire off, and you see the gold-plated man stand up from his balcony and slam his like golden rod into the ground, and his voice booms through the arena, and he shouts, "Enough!" And 1 second. Stuff is going down now. Hang on 1 second, guys.
No,
They don't want to see you win,
I
Chad.
still have my bonus attack.
You do not. Hang on 1 second. So
They wanna see you win,
the
Chad.
man like launches himself out of his seat and stands on like, there's like a little bit of a ledge on his like fancy box seat balcony, and he stands on it, slams his staff rod thing down, and he speaks, and he says, let me see. Donald's linking stuff. Hang on.
Oops.
He roars at the crowd and he says, "You cheer for these fools and their like pitiful competition." And he throws this like badass like golden warhammer that he has in his other hand than the staff. He like throws it directly at the Minotaur, and it just like cleaves the top of its head off and all the stone and its horns, and they just fly across the arena and crash into the other side of the wall and crumble against the wall, and the hammer just like flies back up into this guy's hand. And
Chad softened him up for it.
the arena just like falls silent, and his voice is booming across the arena, and he's like, how on earth can anyone cheer for this absolute nonsense? You're fighting weaklings. You have no real challenge. You haven't even had the chance to prove that you're worth my time, because for some reason Rosiel, and he like smacks her back onto the ground and knocks her over. He's like, "You've been sending fools to fight the other fools," and he like makes himself laugh, and he like kicks this lever on the side of his balcony, and he says, "Let's throw a real challenge at you." And he kicks this lever, and like all of the portcullis doors that you guys entered into the arena from, and like any like crack in the stone in the arena just like seals itself immediately. And you can see on the screen here, 1 second, the arena begins to fill with water.
Oh no.
I don't know if hopefully you guys can. Oh, 1 second. I'm going all over the place. You can see on your screen, hopefully if you have Roll20 open or whatever, or if you're on the stream, you can see the arena filled with water. And this is going to be your first skill challenge. I don't think we've done one of these yet in the campaign. A skill challenge is a mechanic from 4th edition where you have to use your class's skills or abilities to come up with unique ideas for how to get out of a situation, and you have to pass 6 checks before your team fails 3. So I will give each of you a turn, and you can tell me a specific way that you want to use your class's abilities or skills. Like for instance, one of you could make an athletics check to try to do something, and you roll, and if you pass whatever the DC is that I've set behind the scenes, you will pass. And then once your team accumulates 6 passes before you get 3 fails, you will succeed this skill challenge. If you get 3 failures, you will fail and something bad will happen. If you pass, something good will happen. The challenge is currently, the arena is filling up with water, and this man who is standing on his balcony now, he like booms out again, and he says, the entertainment has begun. Avitus proclaims your first real challenge, and you learn that this man's name is Avitus, and he has begun to fill the arena with this water, and you can see the water's like this gray murky color, and it's kind of steaming a little bit, and it's rising pretty quickly, like quickly enough that you guys are in the middle of it, and if you tried to run just towards the door, it would be like filling up by the time you ran there. So You have a skill challenge, and we'll go one by one through each of you, and you can tell me what you want to try to do. And believe me, like, get as creative as you want, and then we'll roll for it. And if you pass, you pass, and you can come up with interesting ways to try to think of how to get out of this challenge. And it should be a lot of fun. I like these skill challenges. It's like a way to have like a combat encounter without the fighting. Like, you can use your abilities in unique and creative ways. So, Darrow, you're first up.
Are there any limitations, like do my spell slots count and things like that?
You can use a spell. You definitely still have to use your spell slot for it. But if you tell me an idea for what you want to, like, what your character would try to do to get out of this situation, you can try to do it. And remember, you have to get 6 successes. You don't just have to get 1 each. So your first thing might succeed, but it might only get you like halfway out of this sticky spot.
Do we have the freedom to like borrow items, or
You can do whatever you guys can do. Yep.
What is your objective, by the way? Get out of the arena?
Get out of the arena and survive. Yep. Don't drown in this water right now.
Isn't it just an open pit though?
Yeah, it's open on top. Like, eventually you would like, it would fill up with water and you would just like be out there. But there's this crowd watching, and this guy who just like threw like the god's hammer and cleaved the head off this minotaur is like challenging you to figure out this puzzle.
So I can request something from Chad if I
Yeah, you guys can like figure it out together. You are on like a metaphorical timer.
Okay, Chad, just use your ice breath to fuse the water. I'll make sure we don't capsize since I am a ship captain. And we'll just ride it out for a bit.
Okay. Chad attempts to make a pretty kitty ice boat. Is that like a nature check? Survival?
You can roll your yeah, I guess survival would work. And
Sweet, I got a 1 bonus in that.
nice.
Come on,
And-
pretty kitty boat.
Very nice. Chad rolling like insane today. So, Chad, you roll a 19, you pass the check. You use your ice breath and you make like an ice, like, it definitely doesn't form into a boat. You just freeze the top layer of water that you're standing on. And the 3 of you climb on top of it. And once the water has raised up like a good 5 or 10 feet so that there's like a lot of water underneath you guys, and it's kind of like this bouncing, buoyant thing, the ice breaks, and Goldu and Darrow are like kind of slid off back into the water.
No, go do greatest weakness. Is it my turn now?
It is now Chad's turn. You're
Is that
like,
a success or fail?
that was 1 success, essentially. Like, Chad is 1 step closer to like not drowning here.
Right.
I don't know if I made it clear enough. Like, each of you essentially is going to get turns to do this, and the team as a whole has to get to 6 passes before you get to 3 fails. None of your checks can like instantly save the whole team, like trying to get everyone to float on this iceberg. Like, you can't just like auto win with 1 success, you know what I mean?
So
Yeah,
we have to, all the group have to make 6 total, right?
6 total, yeah. So like all of you could
Not
make
like
2.
everyone have to make 6, right?
Right. You all essentially have to make 2, but not really. Like, 1 person can't make all 6, and you can't use the same ability twice. Like, if you use an athletics check to try to climb out of the thing, you can't do that 2 turns in a row.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to use actually athletics to pull these guys back in if possible.
You can try to do that. Yeah, absolutely. So you roll your athletics, please.
Ooh.
All right. So you like pull the, like, Darrow was the closest one to you when they both slid off. You didn't like manage to like scoop them both up in time, and Goldu has like drifted back towards the tower.
See you, Goldu.
And Darrow, you're like trying to stabilize yourself on the ice for now, but like it's real wobbly and like you're having trouble. But you guys have amassed 2 successes now.
Oh, sick.
It is now Goldu's turn.
I climb tower.
Okay, make an. This one's going to be another acrobatics check. It's slightly easier now because it's like the water's higher, so you're like a little bit closer.
Hey,
You try to grab a hand, hold on to it, and you just can't get it though, and you're still just like clawing at the wall while the water is rising up, and you guys now have one failure as a team. Darrow, your turn.
Daru.
How tall is this tower?
It's about 10 feet submerged now, so there's maybe 20 feet of it sticking out.
And how tall is it to the top of the pit?
Another maybe 10 feet from there, maybe 10 or 20 feet from there.
All right.
You can use any of your skills or abilities or anything that you want, just to get creative.
My goal is to...
You are currently like balancing on this ice shelf with Chad. Chad's like got a pretty good hand on it, and he's like,
yeah,
he's secure, but you're on the verge of like teetering off this thing. You're trying to either save yourself or help somebody.
I'm gonna jump off the ice into the water next to Goldu.
Okay.
Being that I'm a person of the water, it doesn't bother me too much.
Sure.
And
so
I'm
you
going
jump off. You're like right next to him now.
I'm going to use my Thunder Wave to attempt to blast this tower apart, and we're going to climb on to the rubble and ride it out as long as we can.
Okay. Interesting.
Destroy my tower.
Roll your so Thunderwave usually makes something roll a saving throw, correct?
Yeah, Constitution, I believe.
So I'm going to make this a spell attack. You're purposely trying to direct this spell towards an object, so I'm going to make you roll a spell attack, which would be 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your spellcasting modifier. Lonely Lich says, Thunderwave is an interesting choice. A spell attack, like, anytime you attack with a spell or use your spells, it's like, it starts off with an 8, and then you add your proficiency bonus, which is 2. So 10 plus your spellcasting modifier, which your spellcasting modifier is charisma, right?
Yeah.
So 10 plus whatever. Oh, I'm thinking of saving throw again. Sorry. Roll a d20 and then add your proficiency and your charisma to it. I apologize. Just roll a d20.
What am I adding to it again? I'm sorry.
Just roll a d20 and we'll add it up after.
Wow.
You failed.
Wow.
So you blast this thunder wave into the water, and it doesn't quite make it to the building, but it does like shock you and Goldu a little bit, and you like kind of go under for a second and bob back up at the last minute, and you now have 2 failures.
Goldu, you suck.
Fuck you.
I believe it is it's Chad's turn. You're kind of just like floating on your little ice surfboard now.
I want to use a perception check to see if I can maybe like predict the flow of the currents to maybe come and do a lap around and kind of pick these guys up when they're ready.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Roll. This is going to be nature. Like you're gonna see if you can like.
I have like a bonus for perception, that's why I want.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, sure. You're gonna try to perceive the flow of the water. It's not gonna be a TPK, David.
I did not.
Okay. So Vampire's luck has ran out. He rolled a 2. You stand on your ice shelf, and you are trying to like get a good feel for like where this flow is going, and it starts to like actually like drift away from the team, and you don't notice, but there's like a tree approaching behind you, and you like crash into it and topple off into the water, and the water continues to rise, and the water fills up the arena, and you guys kind of just like float out and fall off into the bottom row of the crowd of the pit, and the crowd is like gasping at you like, you guys really kind of botched that one. And as that happens, Avita stands back up on his balcony and he bellows back out into the crowd like, see what you were cheering for, you idiots. And he's like yelling at the crowd, and he says, I hope not a single soul bet on these fools today. And he kicks the lever again, and it begins to drain the arena, and you can see Cracklash appears from this tunnel that leads into the crowd, and he's like running towards Avitus, and Avitus like draws his hammer and hasn't noticed Cracklash yet, and he draws his hammer and he begins to like wind it back to throw it towards you guys, and Cracklash charges into him and jumps over the balcony and knocks Avitus off of his feet, and Avitus like instantly snaps up and is like, he was shaken, but this did no damage to him at all. And he looks and sees Cracklash, and he says, Cracklash, your second betrayal shall not go as unpunished as your first. And he like holds the hammer up and lets it go, and it just stays in midair. And he takes that like magic rod that he was holding and slamming into the ground earlier, and like attaches it to the hammer and just swings it and like crushes Cracklash's head into his body, and he just like, his head has disappeared from existence. It's just been destroyed, and the crowd just like falls silent and just like starts to like get really upset. And Avita stands back up, and he's like stands on the balcony again, and he like launches himself like he's jumping into the pit, like he's coming towards you guys. You're on the other side now, and he's like trying to like bound himself over the edge towards where you guys are standing on the other side. And as he jumps, the water that's receding, this gigantic skeletal hand reaches itself out of the water. It's like this 50-foot high, like towering skeletal hand, and grabs Avitus and suspends him here. And all of a sudden everyone freezes, and you just feel this presence in your mind. And as this happens, you're kind of like, you're waterlogged, and you barely had time to stand up, and you saw Cracklash go down and get killed, and Avitus flies through the air and gets grabbed by this skeletal hand, and this voice booms into your head like louder than anything you've ever heard before, but also like telepathically at the same time. And it says, Avitus, self-proclaimed lord of this land, ruler of all that stands in Anhef. No mortal pig rules this land. No greedy keeper of slaves shall have power in this realm. My realm, my power. I have remained dormant, awaiting the populations in this world to rebuild, and my wait ends today. Avitus, I must thank you for assembling these kind people here today, for today is the first day of the rest of their lives, and the first day on their path to making history. A history that, unfortunately for you, Avitus, will not even know of your existence, let alone your absolute failure here today. And as this voice booms into your head, and you can hear it, and it feels like you can hear the whole crowd connected by this telepathic voice, and you know that everyone in this arena hears this voice, and everyone outside of this arena is hearing this voice. And the voice like kind of fades away as the skeletal hand tightens its grip, and Avitus is like suspended in air, and he's gasping for breath, and he's dropped his items into the water below. And floating down from above, you see this figure bathed in green light, and he calls out as he floats down towards this skeletal hand, and Avidus's body is suspended in air, and he clenches his like shriveled up, like mummified hand, and the skeletal hand clenches at the same time, and Avidus's blood pressure soars so high that it explodes out of his ears and his mouth. His eyes that were like this like glowing golden color pop out of his head and fall into the water below, and his body is just turned into this like pile of mulch. And the voice appears again while this figure is flowing down, and the figure lands on this skeletal hand and is suspended in air. And the voice says, "Citizens of Chance and all of Onhef," and you know that it's speaking to the entire world, is being telepathically communicated with right now. And it says, "Your freedom begins now. Break your bonds, destroy your oppressors, rally together as my army. March into the future, and we shall conquer reality itself. Refuse and be annihilated. Gather in your nearest settlement, expose those who would betray destiny, and await your command." And the citizens and the arena patrons are just in an absolute panic, seeing the leader of their settlement just squished in an instant and dropped into the water, this pile of flesh and eyes that have popped out. And the arena's panicking, but they don't move. They don't listen to this guy. They haven't gone anywhere yet. They're not rallying behind this man's words. They're terrified. But suddenly this wave of this energy that you felt, the same energy that you felt speaking to you all, just radiates through the crowd, and you can see this wave go through the crowd, and every 10th citizen in the crowd, their flesh just rips away from their bones, and the skeleton like animates from their body, and the skeletons begin like poking and prodding at the other living members in the audience, and they're like rushing them towards the exits and towards the actual town of Chance. And the king, who has floated down onto the hand and like proclaimed this prophecy of death to all who disobey, the hand sinks back down into the earth, taking this figure with it, and it disappears, and absolute chaos erupts in the arena, and Cracklash is dead, and everyone is just pouring out of the doors in droves, and you are just rushed with them, and you're outside of the slums for the first time since arriving to the city, and the crowds are just like pushing everyone. It's chaos. You can barely stand up. You're being tossed around and shuffled out of the arena, and you're back out into the open, and crowds of people are just running, being prodded by these skeletons, and pushed towards the center of town. And that's where we're going to leave off for today.
Whoa.
Damn, son.
Hell yeah.
He died too far away from me. Can't
And I just wanted to get my bonus attack on that Minotaur.
I know. I wanted to persuade the crowd to turn on him.
I want to see that cookie crumble.
The Stone Minotaur has been replaced by a Lich King that can telepathically command the entire world, so a little bit different.
Do we still get the same XP?
Maybe. We'll see.
Is my
They're
level
basically
okay?
the same enemy.
You guys definitely are not level 4 yet. You're still spry young level 3 warriors, and you just saw probably the most like insane thing you've ever seen in your life, or anyone on any world has probably ever seen. This guy just ripped the flesh off of 10% of the population of the world and turned them into a skeletal army. So
Also, Golda, why the hell didn't you just throw your dagger and teleport to it?
I wanted to keep it
You suck.
when I was on top of the tower and throw it on the people and get away.
all right, very nice. So that's it for today. We will begin where we left off. You guys are rushing out of the arena, being pushed along by the crowd of people who are just terrified and being prodded along.
What is the status of Roseal?
You have no idea. She's lost in the crowd. Yeah, no idea. Any questions or comments before we call it a day there? I appreciate you guys being willing to stay a couple minutes extra so we could finish that up.
No?
Not really, no.
Cool.
Not for me, at least.
Awesome. Well, we'll continue right there next week. I hope you guys are excited. I know that was like a really crazy thing to just like throw at you at the end there, but it's it's all for good reasons. That's the official unveiling of the big bad evil guy of the campaign there for you guys. So
Yeah, it's just gonna one shot him anyway, so
for sure, yeah. All right, we'll leave off there. I think that's gonna do it for today.